Open Monday through Saturday. Franklin Boulevard, Glenwood. Online at RamseyWaite.com.
Are you hiring? Do you know where to post your job to find the best candidates? Posting your job in one place isn't enough to find quality candidates. If you want to find the perfect hire, you need to post your job on all the top job sites. And now you can. With ZipRecruiter.com, you can post your job to 100 plus job sites, including social media networks like Facebook and Twitter, all with a single click. Find candidates in any city or industry nationwide. Just post once and watch your qualified candidates roll in to ZipRecruiter's easy-to-use interface. No juggling emails or calls to your office. Quickly screen candidates, rate them, and hire the right person fast. Find out today why ZipRecruiter has been used by over 400,000 businesses. And right now, listeners can try ZipRecruiter for free by going to ZipRecruiter.com/quick. That's ZipRecruiter.com/quick. One more time. To try it for free, go to ZipRecruiter.com/quick.
Have you ever thought you'd like to flip houses but didn't know how or where to get the money? Are you ready to be your own boss so you can start living the good life? Hi, I'm Preston Ely. I used to be so broke. I had my electricity turned off 9 times, but I figured out a way to quit my job and find financial freedom in real estate. For a limited time, I want to send you a free copy of my smash hit selling book, How to Get Rich in Real Estate. It shows you how to copy exactly what I did so you can make money from the comfort of your own home without even doing any manual labor. I've already given away 5,000 books and they're going fast. To get one before they're gone, call 1-800-500-4309. Listen, if you're sick and tired of stressing about money, this book could change your life. It's short, fun to read, easy to understand, and awesome. To find out how to get your free book while supplies last, call 1-800-500-4309. Call 1-800-500-4309. 1-800-500-4309.
KPNW weather brought to you by Ramjack West. Do you have foundation problems? Ramjack can fix that. Get your free quote at ramjackwest.com.
Good morning to you and yours. This is Megan Shim with NBC 16 and a look at your weather. Hopefully you had a chance to get outside this week and enjoy that warm and sunny, dry climate that we had because it's all about to change today. We have a low front hanging over us, bringing in the colder temperatures, a drop in about 10 degrees for the highs in Eugene, staying in the 60s mainly throughout the work week, low staying in the 40s, mostly cloudy skies. 40% chance of rain on Monday, and on Tuesday, 60% chance of rain as well. Throughout the whole week, we have a slight chance of rain continuing on and off, so stay with us on NBC 16 for your latest weather and news. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day.
All right, if you're staring at your carpet and your carpet has kind of an ambiance, maybe it's got a bit of a scent, or maybe it's looking at you through stained eyes. You're looking at it and saying, all right, I need to deal with this. But you're one of those folks that doesn't like the idea of using a bunch of chemicals to clean your carpet because maybe you're chemical sensitive. Or you just don't like that kind of weird gritty feeling that your carpet gets when it's cleaned. That gritty feeling, by the way, is residue left over from the soap or whatever the chemicals they're used that are cleaning it. And that same grittiness is the same stuff that attracts more dirt back to your carpet. It's kind of like, fly strips. It's sticky. Instead of attracting flies, it attracts dirt. And so then you've got a dirty carpet in a month or two. So consider Zero Res. Now here's why. First off, they're not using chemicals, they're using water. And it's water that's gone through an electrolysis process. They actually force electricity through it, which changes the pH of the water, but it's still water. So when they're done, all you're dealing with is water that is going to evaporate. And they do a great job with no residue. Nothing toxic left behind, nothing sticky or crunchy. And your carpets are staying cleaner longer. Plus, they have faster drying times. And they have the 30-day gotta love it guarantee on price, service, and time. Zero Res really does a great job. I had a chance to go out and do the tour with Zero Res, go in and actually help clean some carpets, and I gotta say, they do a great job.
There's a rumor that they are going to hire you as a part-timer. Is that true? Will you
it's possible.
Freelancing?
It's possible.
Wow.
Anyway, Call them right now. Mention Bill London or KPNW, and you'll just pay $44 per room, cleaned, minimums apply. Call Zero Res at 988-988-ZERO or go online at zeroreseugene.com.
I'm proud to call myself their number one listener.
The Wake Up Call with Holloway in London.
All right, sweethearts, what are you waiting for?
On News Radio 1120. KPNW.
In my mind,
6:39, 21 away from 7 o'clock. Highway 38, a couple of situations. Just like I-5 last week where we had a couple of situations within a couple of miles. This time it's Highway 38. Eastbound lanes affected at milepost 15 with hazardous debris. And then milepost 5.72, 6 miles east of 101, over there close to the coast, we got a crash. So just, that should affect you or someone that you know. Just be ready for it. Highway 38. All right, James Taylor is coming. Matthew Knight Arena, and we've got tickets all week long.
Yep. Not only do we have tickets, but it's a special Father's Day giveaway that we're doing because Father's Day is coming up. And we know you would like to take your dad to go see James Taylor and maybe even get a pair of front row tickets to see JT.
Front row?
Front row. And $100 to Oregon Electric Station.
What?
Mm-hmm. Yep, we're going to give you, we've got...
Whole night?
Yeah. Got the $100 gift card to OES, Oregon Electric Station, and, that's right, a pair of front row passes to see JT. Now, other stations would go, oh, we're going to qualify it. We're going to qualify, and then we're going to do a drawing, and that person is... No. Everybody is going to have an equal chance to win this by spinning the Wheel of Taylor. We have the Wheel of Taylor, which is our little spinning wheel that's over here to the side.
Should I spin it once?
Yeah, if you would like to do so. It looks good, Rob. It's our homemade spinning wheel.
We should conserve how many times we spin it because I don't know how long it's going to last.
Yeah, it's quite the unit there.
By the way,
well
tickets on sale now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, if you want tickets, you can buy them, or you can do what the smart people do, which is, we'll listen to KPNW and we'll win them from them. Yeah.
July 15th. It's a Friday night, Matthew Knight Arena. It's a month away. A lot of times you get the tickets, they go on sale, and it's for like 8 months or like a year and a half. You'll get to experience this during the summer, right there in mid-July. So he's, I've seen him in concert one time.
Yeah. And?
Very good.
Was it the best concert you've ever been to?
To be honest with you?
Yeah.
Do you want me to be honest with you?
Well, of course. I wouldn't have asked the question if
I thought from what I was there. Okay, I had been on the river all day, so admittedly I was tired and kind of burned out, and I lasted a couple. And you know, when you're doing mornings, you're always kind of in a state of zombiedom. I fell asleep after like 3 songs.
Okay.
Because James, come on.
It's fair enough. That's fair. I asked an honest question. You gave me an honest answer.
Okay.
As I would expect. Thank you, because you could have gilded the lily quite a bit.
That's all right.
So,
but from what I was there for, conscious,
yeah,
very good.
All right.
He's a pro.
So anyway, coming up a little bit later on this morning, you'll be able to vicariously spin the Wheel of Taylor for a chance to win either just a normal pair of tickets to see James Taylor or the super special package.
So just to clarify, do you have to be a dad to spin the wheel?
No.
Okay.
But you might want to take your dad just in case.
But it is a week of...
Where we think about dads, and so we've applied Dad's name to this to make it seem all touchy and feely.
See, women who are planning to celebrate the dad have already done all their purchases, all their special montages and photographic brilliance. They've done that like a month ago. because they don't wait till the last minute. If this was Mother's Day coming, we'd still have about 6 days of waiting time
scrambling
for the fellas.
Right. Because that's the way we work.
That's the way we work. We work better under pressure.
Mm-hmm. We have to think about it for a while. So that's what we do. Anyway, we'll give you a chance a little bit later on. Be listening to win from News Radio 1120 KPNW, because that's what we do.
Boy, what a tough couple of days, I mean, to put it lightly, in the state of Florida. I mean, if you were paying attention somewhat, and you heard about the voice singer, the musician who had been shot in Florida by somebody who had gone there specifically during an autograph session to kill this woman. And thankfully the woman's brother was there and was able to wrestle with who knows what could have happened. Maybe he had intent to kill even more people, but then the gunman turned the gun on himself, and then it happened Sunday morning. And you never know. I mean, when you first hear the initial, news story, and it starts to change, and because people don't know. I mean, it's just coming out, and people are rushing to the scene. When we first initially heard 20, and then they escalated the number to 50, and then thankfully down to 49 because they were including the gunman in that 50. What's your feelings on the whole idea that they have already kind of billed it and capsulized it as the worst shooting incident ever to happen on U.S. soil?
Well, I think it's somewhat incomplete. I would say it's the worst terrorist shooting in American history. I mean, let's be honest.
Does it turn it into a competition, though, where all of a sudden somebody wants to...
Oh, I don't know, maybe.
Break the record of lives lost?
Maybe for some sick, twisted individual, maybe. The fact that still, even we know the guy, I mean, we have the recordings of the guy calling 911 to praise ISIL. We know that he went to an Islamic church where that particular religious leader was calling for the deaths of homosexuals. I mean, you look at it and just go, how does, why don't we call it what it is? On one hand, you have the president that's coming out, and as expected, I mean, you could have written the script. You knew what he was going to do. He was going to come out, he's going to say it's tragedy, and then he's going to call for gun control. And he made this comment. He goes, we have to decide if that's the kind of country we want to be, and to do nothing is a decision as well. Well, you know what? That cuts both ways. Because by him doing nothing, basically not calling it an act of Islamic extremism and terrorism, is the same thing as doing nothing. It cuts both ways. And it's amazing. It's irresponsible. They're going to call it, quote unquote, a hate crime. Well, yeah, it is a hate crime. You know why it's a hate crime? Because you have people that hate the United States that come here and kill people. People that identify with ISIS killing Americans. They weren't just gays that were in that bar. They were Americans. It wasn't just a hate crime against gays. It was a hate crime against Americans. It was a hate crime against us. It was a hate crime against everybody. The question is, when are we going to call it what it is? When is this president going to man up and call it what it is? To go back to the phrase, and to do nothing is a decision as well. So then what is his decision then? What does that imply? I mean, watching the news and listening to it was just so infuriating. I mean, from so many different angles. You know, the families of the people that were in there, the people that were in there, the people that had friends that were in there. Watching this scumbag's father get on television and say, oh, it wasn't their religion. The hell it wasn't. Do a little research on his dad. His dad's a Taliban supporter, had his little television show on TV where he would go on and pretend to be the president of Afghanistan and go on his little Taliban-y rants. It's not the religion. What do you think would be the talking points this morning if it was a group of evangelical Pentecostals that had gone in and shot up a gay bar, a gay nightclub? What would the talking points have been then? I certainly bet that they would have been calling them Christian radicals, Christian hate groups. But because it's Islam, they get a walk? They get a pass? Really? Yeah, it was a hate crime. It was a hate crime against Americans. Those people in there were Americans. $6.51.
Spring into camping at the RV Corral. New Winnebago trailers from $16,995. New Hideout trailers from $14,995. And the new Cougars from only $21,995. Check out Lane County's best selection of Winnebago Class A's and C's. Allegro by Tiffin, the Sunseeker lineup. And now RV Corral is the new dealer for Fleetwood Motorhomes. New or used toy hauler, trailer, fifth wheel, diesel or gas. Think award-winning RV Corral. Highway 99 or RVCorral.com. Why go anywhere else?
The best real estate market in a decade. Less homes for sale, coupled with low interest rates, get you the top dollar for your house in today's market.
So if you have to sell so that you can buy and you don't want to be without a place, you need to call Eric and Jeanette Harpole with Keller Williams Realty. Really, they're expert negotiators. They specialize in working with their clients that need to sell so they can buy their next home. And if you want to sell within your time frame and get the most money possible, these are the folks.
Obviously, you know that not all agents are the same. In fact, Eric, Jeanette, and their team outsell all other agents in Lane County. The reason? Better marketing, top-notch negotiating, their exclusive enhanced listing program, and unlike other agents, they offer flexible commissions. Hey, if you're not happy, fire them. You are in control.
You can get free information about selling your house this spring or summer. Give them a call, 541-286-3030. That's 541-286-3030. Or just go to harpolehomes.com in Lane or Douglas County.
All right, try to find something in your world that affects you more than a mattress and a bed. I mean, when you get good night's rest, it gives you, physically and health definitions, a better day, gives you a positive outlook. When you get a good night's rest, things just kind of beat off you. And so people that you deal with, people that deal with you, find a better situation, a more positive person. If you maybe are feeling like, the days are kind of a grind, just think about, before you even go to Sleep Train, the possibilities, the potential for a better existence. And it kind of starts with a mattress and a good night's rest. Sleep Train, with their red, white, and blue sale going on right now, you can save $300 off Sealy Posturepedic. Go try it on a Tesla or Simmons Beauty Rest. 3 years interest-free financing on Sleep Train's exclusive new Tempur HD models. You've never tried one? Go try a Tesla. Call 1-866-780-62. You know what? Just go by and see the people. See what they're all about before you make any purchases in the mattress department. See what Sleep Train is all about. We think you'll be pretty impressed.
Head on into Sleep Train in Albany, Corvallis, Eugene, and Springfield, and tell them you were sent there by the Wake Up Call, please.
There should be no confusion when purchasing medical or leisure products from any dispensary. So at Jamaica Joel's, we don't use deceptive marketing just to get you in the door. The prices we advertise are the prices you'll pay, guaranteed every time. We update our Leafly menu daily, so you'll never be let down when you come in for your favorite strain or needed medication. So don't settle for less than the best. Come experience Jamaica Joel's. On the corner of 13th and Willamette, above Big City Gaming, Jamaica Joel's. An embassy for your mind, a dispensary for the people.
Green, green, green. It's your home, it's your dream. Radon testing, keep it healthy and clean. Make it green, green, green. Making it green is making sure the air in your home is healthy for your family to breathe. Testing for radon is easy. Just call 866-730-GREEN. Make it green, green, green.
A message from the U.S. EPA. KPNW weather brought to you by Ramjack West. Do you have foundation problems? Ramjack can fix that. Get your free quote at ramjackwest.com.
Good morning to you and yours. This is Megan Shem with NBC 16. Giving you a look at your weather today. We had a nice weekend with dry and warm climate, but starting today, that story is going to change. We have a low front that is hanging over us, just bringing in that chance of rain all the way through the work week. Temperatures dropping about 10 degrees, staying in the 60s in Roseburg and towards the 50s, maybe creeping up into the 60s a little bit towards the coast. Lows staying in the 40s, and we do have a 40% chance of rain on Tuesday. Mostly cloudy skies for both the coast and Roseburg. In Eugene, same sort of story. And the temperatures will stay lower than they were this weekend, so hopefully you got a chance to get out there and enjoy last weekend. Stay with us with NBC 16 for your latest weather and news. Have a good day.
The Bloomberg Market Report, sponsored by Pacific Continental Bank, serving your business and community in Eugene for over 40 years.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. Stocks are slipping in early trading with a Fed meeting ahead this week and investors concerned about a possible British exit from the European Union. The Dow is down 34 points, 17,831. The S&P 500 is lower by 4, or about 0.2% at 2091. And the Nasdaq is down 19 points at 4874. Shares of the gunmaker Smith & Wesson are up 10%, following the nation's worst ever shooting massacre in Orlando early yesterday. And LinkedIn is surging this morning. It's up about 48% with news that Microsoft is buying the professional networking site in a deal valued at just over $26 billion. Shares of Microsoft are moving lower this morning. They're down about 4%. And crude is lower. Oil right now is down about 1.5% at $48.31 a barrel. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, it is my profound pleasure to introduce
The Wake Up Call on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
It was 1849. The German radical Karl Marx, co-author of the Communist Manifesto, fled to London. Before he assumed room temperature, Marx bought a burial plot in a prestigious London location called Highgate Cemetery. But the years have not been kind to Highgate. By the 1990s, the Gothic tombs and winding roads were in disrepair. So the Friends of Highgate, the charity that runs the place, decided to charge a cover fee for visitors to help maintain the property. The fee has long been a source of irritation for Marx's admirers, but now it's become a hot-button issue. Last month, Geoffrey Corbyn, an avowed Marxist, was elected leader of the Labour Party in Great Britain. Since then, there's been a surge of new members of the Marxist Student Federation and a dramatic uptick in people wanting to visit the gravesite of Marxism's founder. They're spitting mad to find out it costs $6 to view the giant bronze Marx head on a marble pedestal carved with the words, "Workers of all lands, unite." Personally, I find it disgusting, complained one 24-year-old Marxist. There are no depths of irony or bad taste to which capitalists will not sink if they think they can make money out of it. Others say that Marx would be turning over in his grave if he knew people were being charged to pay homage and he didn't get the money. A real shame, isn't it? Turns out, even when it comes to a dead communist, cash is always king. Do you know what the fastest growing crime in America is? It's identity theft, and it can happen a lot of ways. Like when someone pretends to be you to open new accounts, or charge their utility bill to your name, or any number of other illegal acts. And that's where LifeLock can help. They use proprietary technology to detect and alert you to a whole range of identity threats. And if there's a problem, they have a team of U.S.-based specialists who will work to resolve it. Now, no one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions in all businesses, but you will get more protection with LifeLock than you get from free credit monitoring alone. So join right now. You'll get a special 15% discount off your first year. Call or visit lifelock.com. Make sure you use the promo code RUSH15. That's RUSH15. Act now. Offer ends July 3rd, 800-440-4833, RUSH15.
Fox News, fair and balanced. We report, you decide. On News Radio 1120 KPNW, Eugene, Springfield.
This is a Fox News alert. I'm Dave Anthony. They've identified 48 of the 49 people massacred early yesterday morning in Orlando.
This is not a war zone that we are living in. This is a civilized society.
Orange County Sheriff Jerry Demings. How to protect that society is now a fiery political debate.
That man yesterday was sick with hate.
And Donald Trump claims there are thousands more already in America who want to also attack us.
Muslims know who they are, largely. They know who they are. They have to turn them in.
And the presumptive Republican nominee says President Obama should resign for not blaming the rampage on radical Islam.
Calling on another gun ban. I mean, this man has no clue.
Hillary Clinton's reaction?
Demagoguery and, rhetoric is not going to solve the problem.
The presumptive Democratic nominee tells NBC's Today Show she has a plan to defend us from these type of lone wolf attacks and radicalization.
I think we have to admit it's a complex challenge, but we are absolutely up to facing it.
Now, the rampage ended when police went into the gay nightclub and killed the killer in a gun battle. His life's now under a microscope. Fox's Evan Brown live in Orlando.
Yeah, Dave, the shooter was Omar Mateen, a 29-year-old American Muslim born in New York to Afghan immigrant parents. He was raised in South Florida.
We've been collecting a great amount of electronic and physical evidence. There is an ongoing criminal investigation. It is still in the early stages.
Lee Bentley, the U.S. attorney here. The FBI twice investigated him for expressing jihadist sentiments. He was also known to be a follower of a former U.S. Marine turned gang leader and Islamic preacher named Marcus Dwayne Robertson, who has already been questioned, Dave.
Evan, the Supreme Court has refused to hear an appeal from 20 states to new Obama administration rules that limit toxic power plant pollutants. Those rules remain in place as the EPA is under court order to revise them. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Sun Automotive is proud to sponsor the Northwest edition of Lars Larson. Sun Automotive, with locations in Eugene and Springfield, reminds you, stay safe on the road, keep your car well maintained, and don't text and drive. Sun Automotive.
STG presents Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson, an astrophysicist goes to the movies, taking you on a very personal journey, June 16th at the Holt Center. Tickets available at holtcenter.org, and don't miss the post-show Q&A.
The best window sale in Oregon just keeps getting better.
Discount Windows Final 99 sale.
Thousands of overstock windows on site, including Ply Gem windows.
Factory first, overstock windows, just $99 each.
Or less.
Why less, Vic? $99 is an amazing deal.
Lee, the lowest prices on overstock is one reason we're Discount Windows.
You're good, and so is this sale.
Discount Windows, Highway 99, Junction City, open 7 days a week.
Stocks are down a little to start the week on Wall Street, where Fox Business Network's Nicole Petalides is live.
The Dow Jones Industrial Average down for the third day, but already off the lows of the morning, down 17 points at 17,847. The Nasdaq down 6, the S&P 500 down 1 on the heels of the aftermath of the Orlando massacre. We're seeing some of the gun stocks rallying. Names like Smith & Wesson and Sturm Ruger, those are to the upside. Microsoft pulls back after it offers to buy LinkedIn, $26.2 billion deal. Microsoft down 3%, LinkedIn up about 48%. Facebook initiated its safety check for those in a crisis area, and that's That stock right now is down 1.2%. Dave.
Thank you, Nicole. The price of oil is down 30 cents, back below $49 a barrel, as gas remains unchanged today. AAA's national average for regular just shy of $2.38 a gallon. That is 2 cents more than we were paying a week ago. The federal trial starts today for FedEx. The government accuses the shipping giant of delivering illegal prescription drugs like Ambien to dealers and addicts. But FedEx, which faces a possible billion-plus fine, maintains it only shipped what it believed were legal drugs from licensed pharmacists. Pittsburgh is planning a parade.
Sit there, shovels one, knocked down by Crosby, sent back out now to Hornquist. Hornquist with the net empty. He scores!
That goal iced it for the Penguins late, winning hockey's Stanley Cup on NBC. Pittsburgh beat San Jose 3-1 to win the NHL final in 6 games. Coach Mike Sullivan.
To work with this team and this group of players, I'm really grateful and obviously thrilled to have the opportunity to win this.
He and Penguins fans are waiting for details on when they can celebrate with that parade and rally. Oakland is hoping for the same thing. The Warriors can win the NBA title tonight. Golden State would repeat as champs if they beat Cleveland in Game 5 of the finals. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News Radio.
News Radio 1120 KPNW 705. Welcome into a Monday, June 13th. Got some clouds to contend with, and I see those clouds. 20% chance of rain today, escalating to a 60% chance tonight. 65 for the high, 48 for the overnight low. There you go. So pretty much the only thing that we have to talk about isn't even really in our stretch down there, Highway 38. We have a couple of situations. The closer you get to the coast. Other than that, things moving as you would hope they would be in the 7 o'clock hour. On a Monday, though, if you see anything that the other 14 should know about, let us know, and we'll pass it on. Before we get out the air, James Taylor tickets coming July 15th. If you'd like to go, compliments of the wake-up call. We'll see what we can do to make that happen between now and 9 o'clock. Coming up, we're going to talk about a treatment for hay fever that maybe you haven't experienced or attempted. And we'll also talk to the Tracktown CEO, Michael Riley. Got some haps. Yeah, we had the NC2A championships, and it's not done yet at Hayward Field. News, too, coming up.
Yeah, we'll have these stories coming up, of course. The big news happens to be the shooting in Orlando. We'll have an Oregon-centric view of what occurred there. We'll also take a look at some other stories as well, including businesses are eyeballing IP28. They're not happy. The latest on the train crash over in Mosier and more, all ahead. Brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones, here on KPNW. Some people avoid gluten because they have to. Others avoid it because they want to. At Burrito Amigos, they say, either way, they can help deglutify your menu. For instance, they have taco salad. The best part is you can build it yourself with beans, your favorite meat, lettuce, tomatoes, cilantro, cheese, tasty guacamole, and sour cream on a bed of, yes, gluten-free corn tortilla chips. Keep in mind, Burrito Amigos large taco salad should have wheels and a 6-cylinder engine with a granny gear because it's so big. Now, if you're catering something for work, a school, or club, just order the taco salad and you don't have to worry about figuring out a gluten-free menu or even ask if anyone requires a gluten-free meal. One thing that should also be mentioned, Burrito Amigos taco salads taste great. If you're going meat-free, Burrito Amigos has a vegetarian menu that's more extensive than most sit-down restaurants. From tofu burritos to the bueno no-cheese burrito, Burrito Amigos adds more to their menu for people who need to leave things out of theirs. Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones in Eugene and Springfield.
Warmer weather is coming. You may be ready, but is your vehicle? Midlane Truck and Equipment Repair can perform a complete inspection of your cooling and air conditioning system to ensure you and your vehicle stay cool when it gets hot out. Offering bumper-to-bumper service and repair on trucks, RVs, autos, and trailers, including general maintenance, in-frame overhauls, welding, fabricating, liftgate, and reefer repair. Call Midlane Truck and Equipment Repair now to beat the heat.
Shopping for your next grill at Midgley's is easy and convenient.
Unlike home improvement stores, a walk across Midgley's doesn't require a relay baton. We know all about grills, too. Just don't ask us about sandpaper or toilet seats. And you don't need to remember where you parked. Our customer-friendly lot is directly behind our store. Get your next grill at Midgley's. We're at 7th and Chambers in Eugene. Midgley's. Anywhere else, and you're just playing with fire. CCB 161946.
You'll hear it here first. This is your wake-up call on News Radio 1120. KPNW.
Good morning. This look at the news brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones, featuring great breakfast burritos and fresh brewed, locally roasted coffee for a tasty start to your morning. Here's what's going on. From Pope Francis to Vladimir Putin, world leaders are expressing condolences for the Orlando massacre. For a look at the global reaction, here's Fox's Alistair Wanklin.
Russia's President Vladimir Putin expressed condolences. China's leader Xi Jinping phoned President Obama, and Beijing's foreign ministry said China stands with Americans at this time. Queen Elizabeth sent a message, and Pope Francis spoke of horror. German Chancellor Angela Merkel paid tribute to the people giving blood to the victims, and Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe said terrorism of this kind attacks the values held by Japan too. In Tokyo, Alistair Wanklin.
Oregon Governor Kate Brown on Sunday ordered all flags at Oregon public institutions to be flown at half-staff immediately until sunset on Thursday in honor of the victims of the Orlando shooting. Then she immediately politicized the event by renewing her partisan calls for gun control. The shooting at the Pulse nightclub in Orlando has renewed the debate on gun control, of course, on Capitol Hill. Oregon Senator Ron Wyden says it'll take bipartisan cooperation to reach a solution.
Work with other members of the Senate, both political parties, to take all responsible steps to improve the safety of our community.
Wyden says it'll take time to investigate what motivated the gunman, although it's already known that the shooter was an ISIS follower who was raised by a pro-Talibani Afghan father. The ATF says Omar Mateen got his two guns legally in the last 2 days, or a few days. Even if there was a ban on the type of weapon that Mateen used, his security designation for the company he worked for would still have allowed him to purchase the gun he used. In other news, a fired employee is suing the Eugene Emeralds over her dismissal that she says occurred after she blew the whistle on liquor violations at the minor league team's games. The Emeralds team manager, Alan Benavides, and the team's owner, Elmore Sports Group, are named as defendants in that lawsuit. Former food and beverage manager Nicole Oakes said in her lawsuit that she saw Elmore clients violate liquor laws, serve themselves alcohol, and bring their own into the park. The lawsuit says Benavides yelled and cursed at Oakes when she brought up the incidents. Oakes said Elmore officials fired her in December. The lawsuit's seeking $75,000 in damages. Oregon businesses are gearing up for the fight of their lives, heading off a controversial new business tax on the November ballot. Brad Ford says they warn that IP28 could drain their wallets and will end up draining yours as well.
The gross receipts tax would pour about $3 billion a year into state coffers. Emily Powell says it means a huge tax increase for her business, Powell's Books in Portland.
It'll be at least a 20-time increase on our current tax bill.
A report from Oregon's Office of Economic Analysis indicates companies subject to IP28 could see 10 to 68-fold increases in their yearly taxes.
Pacific Power has done that analysis. We figure it's about $40 million.
Scott Bolton with Pacific Power says that increase could mean a 3 to 4% customer rate hike. That's not an option for Powell's due to internet competition and prices set by publishers.
We will possibly have to curtail services or change the way we do business in order to pay this bill.
I'm Brad Ford, KPNW News.
Benton County Commissioner Annabelle Yarmio has pleaded guilty to a drunken driving charge and has been ordered to complete a diversion program. Benton County Circuit Court Judge David Cannell on Friday ordered the longtime commissioner to complete an approved treatment program and install an ignition interlock device on her vehicle. Yarmio was pulled over while returning home from a campaign fundraiser April 26th. Philomath police said the commissioner registered a blood alcohol level well above the legal limit. Armijo is seeking a fifth term in office. Diversion agreements are commonly used to resolve first offense Dewey cases in Oregon. If she fulfills the terms of the agreement, the charge would be dismissed, and she would not have a conviction on her record, which is convenient if you're an elected leader. Railroad officials say at least one broken bolt holding the rail in place caused the fiery derailment of a Union Pacific train moving volatile crude oil through the Columbia River Gorge on the Oregon-Washington border. Union Pacific spokesman Justin Jacobs says the company filed a report with the Federal Railroad Administration citing one or more broken bolts as the cause of the June 3rd derailment. Jacob says the bolt is used in curved sections of the track and the company is not aware of previous failures, but he does say the company is now in the process of checking similar bolts in curved sections of its 32,000 miles of track in 23 states. Well, crews cleaning up that train that derailed a week ago last Friday in the Columbia River Gorge have made significant progress. Brad Ford reports.
When the train carrying Bakken crude oil derailed, 16 cars went off the tracks. 4 of them burned, and once the fire was out, crews had to transfer the oil from the damaged cars to tanks and remove the cars. That is now complete. All of the tankers have been moved to a metal recycler in Portland. Contaminated soil is being removed and replaced, and work continues to repair the damage to the Mosier Water Treatment Plant. Managers of the operation say they're moving from the emergency mode to recovery mode as their work continues. Brad Ford, KPNW.
All of the tankers from that oil train have now been moved, as we've said, to a scrap metal recycler in Portland. However, Steve Lawrence, mayor of the Dalles, says the area is too sensitive for any more trains carrying hazardous materials.
No more oil, no more coal, no more hazardous materials going down the National Scenic Area.
His call for a ban on the trains joins tribal members and environmentalists who demonstrated last week. The cleanup continues, with Union Pacific removing soil that was contaminated with oil and making repairs to the Mosier wastewater treatment plant that was also damaged by oil. A federal report shows this summer's stream flow in Oregon is better than last year's, but that flow levels are expected to recede earlier than usual. The report from the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Natural Resources Conservation Service says April's warm temperatures caused the winter snowpack to melt early, causing earlier peaks in river flows. Scott Oviatt with the Conservation Service says municipalities, fisheries, and others that rely on the stream flow need to expect shortages. Last year, when most of Oregon was categorized as in a severe to extreme drought, the statewide snowpack peaked at its lowest levels measured in the last 35 years. Oviatt says there's been significant improvement from 2015, but noted conditions could worsen if it gets too hot and too dry. A judge has ruled that a Portlander can legally change gender identification from man or woman to non-binary. Brad Ford has that story.
Jamie Shoup had completed a sex change from male to female, then asked a Multnomah County judge to change Shoup's legal status to neither. Willamette Week reports Judge Amy Holmes Hain granted the request, changing Shoup's status to non-binary. Advocates say the ruling is a momentous step in recognizing the rights of transgender and non-conforming people. Shoup says the judge's decision is incredibly liberating and hopes it sets a national precedent. Brad Ford, KPNW.
Officials on Sunday lifted all evacuation notices for residents in about 900 homes near wildfires burning in central Oregon. The Oregon Department of Forestry says the fire has scorched 2,100 acres, or about 3 square miles, and was about 72% contained as of yesterday. No structures have been lost. Residents throughout Oregon, though, are being told to prepare for the fire season by being ready to go in case of an evacuation. Fire officials urge residents to get ready by assembling emergency supplies, planning escape routes, and taking other measures. The cost of fighting that fire so far, $2.3 million. More than 600 personnel and 5 helicopters have been assigned to the fire, which was ignited last week by lightning. Most schools are out for the summer, and that gives kids time to play outside. Providence nurse Lori Herrera says when kids are playing in the hot sun, you need to take precautions.
It's kind of hard to get them to stop doing something really fun to drink water, but it's incredibly important because it can lead to dehydration, which can cause a lot of problems. You can get very sick.
Also, cover them with sunscreen. The new spray types are fairly easy, but keep in mind it needs to be rubbed in to be effective. Herrera says you should also require kids to wear helmets and other protective gear if they're going to be biking or skateboarding. A judge has tossed a charge of using and carrying a firearm in the course of a crime of violence for 8 people involved in the Malheur National Wildlife Refuge occupation. David Fry's defense lawyer, Percy Olson, argued that the charge be dismissed for his client, as well as Ammon Bundy, Ryan Bundy, John Ritzheimer, Ryan Payne, Brian Cavalier, Jason Patrick, and Sean Anderson. Assistant U.S. Attorney Ethan Knight said in a hearing that the charge would be close for the court to call. Olson said the men are now less exposed to possible prison time if they're convicted on the remaining charges. There is no minimum prison sentence for convictions of conspiracy to impede federal officers and firearms possessions in a federal facility. Thousands of graduates, along with their friends and families, packed Reser Stadium Saturday for Oregon State University's 147th commencement. OSU said more than 6,400 graduates will be receiving degrees this year, which is a record-breaking number for the university. They said the graduates class of 2016 came from all 36 Oregon counties, all 50 states, 3 U.S. territories, and 63 nations around the world. While the average age of the class is 25, the oldest graduate was 73, the youngest 19. Oregon State said it's one of only a few universities of its size to actually hand out real diplomas to students as they graduate. At 7:20, this look at the news brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones. You're up to date from KPNW.
Wake Up Call Sports on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Well, it looks like the coaching change that the Pittsburgh Penguins made in December, pretty good call. They were in disarray before, and, well, now they're looking pretty good. After the San Jose Sharks forced a Game 6, beating the Pengs on their home ice, the Sharks hoped for a win in Game 6 to force a Game 7. That didn't happen. Sidney Crosby and the rest of the Pens took care of the business and won 3-1 to secure their first Stanley Cup since 2009. Sid the Kid named the MVP. Second title in as many days could happen tonight as the Golden State Warriors might win their second title, but it's a tough order. Their talented but immature forward, Draymond Green, suspended after it was determined that he had a flagrant 1 for hitting LeBron James in the midsection in the retaliation for LeBron stepping over him. I'm sure we all saw the play. Well, they watched it over and over again. He can't even be in the arena tonight. Game 5 NBA Finals, Warriors and Cavaliers, starts at 6 o'clock. After day 1 of the NCAA Track and Field Championships, the Oregon women seemed like they were out of title contention. But in day 2, they even had a short 12-point lead on Arkansas because of Ariana Washington and Deja Stevens going 1-2 in the 200. The Razorbacks simply had more left in the arsenal, winning the championship, 72 points. Ducks, second place, 62, scoring 58 points on Saturday. Missing Hannah Cunliffe, who was out with a strained hamstring, and Jasmine Todd, who left the team without explanation, would have surely made things more interesting for the Ducks. Oregon's Raven Rogers repeated as the 800 meters champ and had this to say about what it's going to be like at the trials.
I know that's going to take a lot of heart and way more than talent because everyone's talented, really. But it takes a lot of heart and smart running since it's 3 rounds.
Oregon men finished 4th on Friday. Oregon baseball shortstop Mark Karaviotis and center fielder Austin Grayback joined pitchers Matt Crook, Cole Irvin, and Steven Nagosic, who were drafted in the MLB draft over the weekend. Wake Up Call Sports brought to you by Max Muscle, where you can always try it before you buy it. On Franklin, across from Market of Choice, news time, 7:22.
KPNW weather brought to you by Ramjack West. Do you have foundation problems? Ramjack can fix that. Get your free quote at ramjackwest.com.
Good morning to you and yours. This is Megan Shem at NBC 16. Giving you a look at your weather today. We had a nice weekend with dry and warm climate, but starting today, that story is going to change. We have a low front that is hanging over us, just bringing in that chance of rain all the way through the work week. Temperatures dropping about 10 degrees, staying in the 60s in Roseburg and towards the 50s, maybe creeping up into the 60s a little bit towards the coast. Low staying in the 40s, and we do have a 40% chance of rain on Tuesday. Mostly cloudy skies for both the coast and Roseburg. In Eugene, same sort of story. And the temperatures will stay lower than they were this weekend, so hopefully you got a chance to get out there and enjoy last weekend. Stay with us with NBC 16 for your latest weather and news. Have a good day.
Ramjack leads the way in foundation repair. Protect your investment. Get your free in-home evaluation at ramjackwest.com. Check out our exceptional online reviews, then choose Ramjack.
CCB 146906.
Hi, everybody. This is Don Essig with today's Motivational Minute, brought to you by Builders Electric, providing smart electrical service since 1960. A very perceptive person, Kathleen Windsor, once said, "Most people are so busy knocking themselves out trying to do everything they think they should do, they never get around to do what they want to do." So today, I want you to make a couple of lists. Start with a list of 3 or 4 things you want to do, then make a list of the things you think you should do that get in the way of doing your want list. You might be surprised at how few of those things you think you have to do that you could actually put off for a while. Then get back to the want list. This is Don Essig with today's Motivational Minute. I'll be back tomorrow. Until then, have a positive day.
Today's Motivational Minute was sponsored by Builders Electric, voted the Register Guard's 2015 Reader's Choice #1 electrical contractor, providing positive service for over 55 years. That's Builders Electric, CCB 4296.
Bill and Tim's is barbecue and a whole lot more.
Bill, barbecue is the very air we breathe.
I know, Tim, but it isn't for everyone all the time. That's why Bill and Tim's expanded menu is a big hit.
True, we don't look like a men's club in here anymore.
Golden mac and cheese balls, Mexican specialty dishes, gourmet salads. What new dish will you be trying today, Tim?
I'm ready to branch out.
Great.
Give me the barbecue bacon cheeseburger.
Tim. Bill and Tim's Barbecue.
Open at 11 daily.
13th and Pearl in Eugene.
Is your heating and cooling system way too old? Contact Pacific Air Comfort, your local Carrier factory authorized dealer, to replace your old heating and cooling system. Turn to the experts for your home or business, and their professional staff will offer you a good, better, and best solution which addresses your wants and needs. They use quality Carrier products and installation, making you Pacific Air comfortable. Pacific Air Comfort, quality system design, quality Carrier equipment, quality installation, and outstanding 24/7 service and repairs. Visit PacificAirComfort.com. That's PacificAirComfort.com. Or call 541-342-5300. That's 541-342-5300 to receive Pacific Air Comfort's award-winning service today.
Is your multivitamin really working? If it's pill form, probably not. Max Muscle has a liquid multivitamin called VitaCell, providing 100% or more of your daily value of vitamins and minerals. And it tastes great. Buy one, get one free this month. Stop by, give it a try. Max Muscle, Franklin Boulevard.
Broadcasting for the betterment of Western Oregon. Yeah, at least that's what we tell the FCC. It's the Wake Up Call coming at you on 1120 KPNW.
726 News Radio 1120 KPNW. As you might have experienced when you've checked out the show before, we kind of crossed the gambit. And with I would say we're pretty much in the height of hay fever season with the grass seed. My brothers and sisters out there that are constantly streaming, sneezing, just feeling miserable, there might be an answer. We've got Erin Ward from Anjuna Medicine here in Eugene, and she is, what is your official title? When you look at your business card, what do people see?
Licensed acupuncturist.
Okay. So before we talk about, hay fever and other things that it helps, let's talk about itself. What is acupuncture? What's going on here?
Yeah, sure. So thank you again, guys, for having me. I think it's a wonderful opportunity to be able to share this on the show. Acupuncture is a complete comprehensive medicine. So in theory, we can actually treat pretty much anything. But because we're combined with Western medicine here in this country, we're lucky enough to have access. to hospitals and to cutting edge medicine, what acupuncture tends to be used for are all of those over-the-counter kind of problems. So allergies, of course, being a really big one. And pretty much anything that if you walked into the pharmacy at Walgreens that you would see. So this can be digestive problems, this can be trouble sleeping, any kind of pain. Pain management is one of the things that we're known for the most. For ladies, any kind of GYN problems. None of these problems are life-threatening. Headaches is another big one. But they're all things that take away from the quality of life. And these are things that Western medicine will usually just give you a pill. And sometimes it works great. And when it doesn't, acupuncture can be a wonderful solution.
So I think we all know that the needle is being inserted into the body. From that point, I think there's confusion as to what exactly is going on here.
Yeah, of course. So the honest answer to the, world-renowned question of how does acupuncture work is frankly still an unsolved mystery. So nobody really knows. However, here's what we do know. So there's a study of acupuncture. It's called medical acupuncture. And basically what they do is they test the body both before and after an acupuncture treatment, and they test to see what's changing, what is actually happening in the body. So here's what we know. We know that it's going to decrease inflammation. We know it's going to release endorphins in the body, which are the natural painkillers in the body. It's one of the reasons it's so effective to fight pain. We know it's going to regulate your circulatory system. So this is what can make it good for injuries. Again, it's going to bring blood flow and kind of flush out areas that are not really getting proper circulation. It's also going to regulate a lot of your internal hormones. It's what makes it so effective for any kind of GYN gynecological problems for ladies. It's also going to regulate mood. This is one of the reasons that it's so effective for anxiety and depression. We know that it regulates a lot of those chemicals that some of us might have heard of, things like serotonin and dopamine, that are going to make you happy, that are going to regulate things like appetite, diet. And in doing so, that's how it treats such a broad array of problems. Like for allergies, it's going to be very antihistamine. For headaches, it's going to do the same thing. It's going to release those endorphins, and it's going to help reduce that pain. And also regulate stress. That's another big one. Regulates your cortisol levels, your adrenaline, which is going to really bring you back down to center whenever you're feeling really stressed.
Probably a case-by-case situation, but how many visits with how many rounds are we talking before things really, you start to see results?
So you're absolutely right. That definitely depends. But I would say on average, somewhere between 4 to 6 treatments is usually what we recommend before you reassess. You can definitely see results in as little as 1 treatment. So it depends on what you're coming in for and how long you've had it. So of course, the longer you've had something, the longer it's going to take to treat.
Do you have to keep going after that?
So again, it depends on what you're coming in for, but for example, if you're coming in for an old injury, let's say an old football injury, you might have
you looked at us and you saw Filing Tune athletes together.
Yeah. That's right. So if you have like an older injury,
distance runner here.
That's right. Then you can treat it for a certain period of time, and then it should basically be gone at that point. So if it's just locked up and your body just needs to be basically readjusted back into alignment, but you're not constantly re-injuring that area, then a certain course of treatments, 4 treatments, maybe 10 if you've had it for 20 years, then you should be better by then. However, on the flip side, for instance, if you have carpal tunnel and you're continuing to work at an office job, or if you do carpentry, mechanics, something like that, that is very intensive on your wrist, every time I'm treating you, you're basically re-injuring it when you go back to work and when you go back to doing whatever that activity was that flared it up in the first place. So in that case, you might need ongoing treatments and ongoing maintenance because you're constantly recreating the problem. So you want to incorporate, the way that you can mitigate that problem is you want to incorporate other things like stretching, like self-care, things that you do to help, again, take away as you re-injure it, you're kind of bringing it back, so you're constantly keeping it stable in a good place.
How long do the needles need to stay in?
So it depends on which style of acupuncture you're doing, but I would say overall, on average, it's about 20 minutes.
Okay, well, there are different styles of acupuncture. Is there like free form and, that
English?
Kind of yeah, English style. And
That's right. So there are probably, I would say, hundreds of different styles.
Really?
Acupuncture, if you look at the history of it, was very family lineage. So every family in China would have their own style. And to give you just a brief synopsis, when Chairman Mao took over, when communism took over in China in the 1950s, they tried to standardize it. So Chairman Mao wanted to modernize China, so he wanted to standardize Chinese medicine, and so he took what he thought and what a group of the more senior medical people in China thought were the most pertinent parts of each of the family lineages, and they combined it into something called traditional Chinese medicine, TCM for short, which is actually what we still practice today. That's what you learn in school. That's the style that you need to pass your boards. But do all of those other family lineages still exist? The answer is yes. So if you're talking about TCM, the needles stay in for 20 minutes.
And what happens if they stay in longer? Do you go into like a coma?
No, not at all. Not at all. So you can absolutely, of course, you can absolutely keep them in longer. Sometimes you might do that for pain management, especially, because basically what you want to do is just stimulate that area of the body a little bit longer, particularly for more severe, I don't know if that's the best word, but for more chronic condition, something where the person's just really uncomfortable, you might leave them in a little longer. For somebody who's just really run down, if they're coming in for a cold, that's another thing that we can treat. Because it's going to boost your immune system. It's another big function of acupuncture. It's going to help with your immunity and your ability to fight various forms of infection. If you're feeling really run down, you're not going to leave the needles in too long because it's going to drain the person. So it's just going to make them feel more tired. So you want to just leave them in maybe 10, 15 minutes. Same thing for kids. If you're treating pediatrics, I myself, the youngest I've treated is 18 months.
Wow.
So you can treat children respond really fast to acupuncture. It's one of the lesser known things that acupuncture can do is treat children, and it's a wonderful thing because kids get sick all the time.
They have vets that do that on animals as well.
Exactly.
Dogs and cats.
Yes.
Talk about because you were talking about this off the air, the size of the needles.
Oh, yeah. So acupuncture needles, for all of the listeners out there, they don't hurt. Acupuncture needles are very, very small. You can fit 40, and that's 40 acupuncture needles into one hypodermic needle. And a hypodermic needle is what you use to draw blood or give an injection. They are literally hair thin. It's 0.2 millimeters. Generally for all those math majors out there, but it's roughly the thickness of a human hair. And they're made out of stainless steel. They're one-time use disposable needles. They're very, very safe. So yeah, no issues on that side. I know in this country it's difficult. We have a lot of apprehension towards needles from a young age.
Well, mention the fact that they really don't hurt.
No, they really don't hurt.
Well done.
She's just reiterating.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about when it comes to hay fever, how successful is acupuncture?
Very successful. So I would say 95% success rate. If you, again, for all the listeners out there, if you guys are on Zyrtec and Claritin and nasal sprays and eye drops and you're still suffering and inhalers, I have clients like this and it really does wonderful things. June, of course, 'tis the season. It's probably the worst month for a lot of people who suffer from allergies. What I always recommend is you want to, ideally, You want to start treating, if you know you get really bad allergies, you want to start coming in a couple months beforehand. Because you want to kind of give your body a little preemptive strike before the season is in full bloom. But we can definitely help you right now. I mean, even if you didn't know about acupuncture and you're just really going through a rough time and you want to do something now, you absolutely can. And then what I do is I encourage my clients to just come less often. And by less often, it's usually once a month. Just for kind of maintenance to keep their body in that good state. And then you're pretty much good the rest of the year, depending on how severe you get outside of the main allergy season. You know, if you get indoor allergies too.
Does insurance typically cover?
Yeah. Actually, it's one of the wonderful things about the state of Oregon. So Oregon is very acupuncture friendly in terms of insurance. Our clinic especially, it's one of the things we aspire towards. It's one of the reasons we've been so successful is we're in network with virtually every insurance company in the state of Oregon. So I can tell you Pacific Source, Providence, Regents Blue Cross Blue Shield, MODA, United Healthcare, Aetna, Cigna, they all cover acupuncture depending on the plan. So you can get...
Depending on the plan.
Depending on the plan.
Yeah, that means ours won't, probably.
Yeah,
yeah, that means ours won't.
But there is a lot of coverage here, and really good coverage too. So you'll get, a number of treatments or a fairly large benefit that should last you throughout the year. And then once you exhaust that, we can help you manage that. It's one of the things that we try to do at our clinic especially, is to give you both a medical treatment plan and say, hey, it's going to take 5 treatments to really make a dent in whatever you're coming in for. But if your insurance only covers, let's say 10 throughout the year, we're going to help you budget out the rest of those treatments just in case something else comes up. So you've got the medical plan and then you've got the financial plan.
Talk about the effectiveness of acupuncture versus acupressure.
They're both effective. Acupuncture is going to last a little longer. That's more my opinion. That's what I've experienced.
Because you're getting stuck.
Well,
that's why.
Because it's going deeper.
Yeah.
It's just going to be, and it's going to be doing it for longer. Generally speaking, it is difficult to hold 10 points throughout the body for 20 minutes. So with acupuncture, you can access more areas of the body for a longer period of time, whereas acupressure, you're usually just going to be doing 1 or 2 points on the body. It's more like a quick fix when you don't have needles, but you can definitely do it in a treatment for people who are just really needle adverse.
Can you do one? I mean, if I've got 2 or 3 maladies that I'm trying to fix, can you do 2 or 3? I mean, how many can you tend to?
Yeah, great
Limitless?
question. Great question. So the answer is yes, you can do all of them. One of the wonderful
You haven't seen
things,
my list yet.
Well, trust me, everybody's got a list. But one of the wonderful things about acupuncture is you guys have probably heard of the term holistic, right?
Yeah.
Well, what that means is that you're treating the whole body. So from our perspective as a practitioner, I'm not actually treating your allergies. We don't treat the disease, so to speak. What we're treating is your organ systems and basically your body. So, for instance, I'll give you a great personal example that I have. When I was in my early to mid-20s, I got chronic bronchitis. I don't know how I got it. I want to say it was stress-related back then. And I couldn't get rid of it. I went to my doctor. I was coughing like crazy, and I looked like a 70-year-old lady. He would give me a round of antibiotics. I had a wonderful MD. I still have the same MD back in New York. And he did this 3 times over. He'd give me a course of antibiotics. It would go away for maybe 2 weeks, and it would come back. 6 months this went on, 3 different courses of antibiotics. And, I finally, one of my friends told me, they're like, Erin, aren't you interested in acupuncture? Shouldn't you go see an acupuncturist for this? They can treat it. And here's what happened. I went, and granted, I got a lot of treatments. I was being treated for stress. I was definitely being treated for the bronchitis. They also knew I had seasonal allergies. I had some digestive symptoms back then. A lot of stress-related problems that a lot of us get, right? And even though I was going in for chronic bronchitis, that was my main complaint. I said, hey, this is what I'd really like you to treat. They got rid of my seasonal allergies. That was actually how I got rid of them. It was a quote-unquote side effect to the acupuncture. They weren't actually treating that for me. But in the process of treating my lungs and treating the rest of my body, more than one thing resolved. Actually, all of it resolved, which was wonderful.
And you were talking about, on Friday, you were talking about some other things that I think people might be surprised that acupuncture could help out with.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of my specialties actually is mental health. So this is an area of acupuncture that is definitely lesser known. And what falls into this? So these are things like anxiety and depression, things like even more complicated, sort of difficult to classify things like low self-esteem, any kind of low motivation, trouble asserting yourself, even anger issues, people who tend to be really quick.
So you can make me more assertive?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So
you make him less angry?
Yes. So one of the great things about acupuncture is, like I had kind of touched upon before, is that it's going to regulate your mood. And a lot of what it does is it also helps to change your perception. So we even treat things that are more serious, like post-traumatic stress disorder. I actually used to work with a lot of veterans when I was working down in San Diego, California, and or sexual assault. That's another big one. Domestic violence. And what it does is it doesn't change what happened, but it kind of reworks your mind to change your perception and how you react to what happened. And in that, it can provide just a world of difference and all kinds of relief. And this is actually what I enjoy treating the most.
Aaron, very interesting. I think a wealth of knowledge here. For people that maybe aren't familiar with the practice, give the website.
Yeah, it's anjunamedicine.com. So that's ANJUNA medicine.com. We've got all kinds of information on there, little videos and things for you guys to check out. I definitely, come visit us. I love the medicine that we practice. Our clinic, again, our specialties are on the mental health side and also sports medicine and chronic pain management. So basically both sides of pain, both the physical side as well as the mental emotional side. So we really try to give people that, whole entire body kind of relief. But we can definitely treat a number of other things as well. So if you've got a laundry list and you've got a lot of other things like allergies, like trouble sleeping and headaches and all of these other chronic problems, we can definitely work on that as well.
Very good. Hey, thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Aaron Ward with Anjuna on 1120 KPNW.
The Bloomberg Market Report, sponsored by Pacific Continental Bank, serving your business and community in Eugene for over 40 years.
This is Bloomberg Market Minute. After a week that saw the Dow and S&P finish near flat, stocks are starting the new week with modest losses. The Dow down 26 points, the Nasdaq down 15, and the S&P off 4, with a Fed meeting starting tomorrow and fears of a British exit from the EU growing ahead of a coming referendum. A very big deal for Microsoft. It's buying LinkedIn for more than $26 billion, or $196 a share. LinkedIn closed at just over $131 on Friday. It's now jumping 47% on the news to just under $193. Opening statements are scheduled for today in a court case involving FedEx. The government charges FedEx knowingly delivered illegal prescription drugs to dealers and addicts. FedEx denies the charges and says it shipped what it believed were legal drugs from licensed pharmacies. UPS paid $40 million in 2013 to resolve similar allegations. I'm Adrienne Mitchell, Bloomberg Radio.
Are you hiring? Do you know where to post your job to find the best candidates? Posting your job in one place isn't enough to find quality candidates. If you want to find the perfect hire, you need to post your job on all the top job sites. And now you can. With ZipRecruiter.com, you can post your job to 100 plus job sites, including social media networks like Facebook and Twitter, all with a single click. Find candidates in any city or industry nationwide. Just post once and watch your qualified candidates roll in to ZipRecruiter's easy-to-use interface. No juggling emails or calls to your office. Quickly screen candidates, rate them, and hire the right person fast. Find out today why ZipRecruiter has been used by over 400,000 businesses. And right now, listeners can try ZipRecruiter for free by going to ZipRecruiter.com/quick. That's ZipRecruiter.com/quick. One more time. To try it for free, go to ZipRecruiter.com/quick.
Pacific Continental Bank is proud to call the Eugene Springfield area home for more than 40 years. As your local banker, partner, and neighbor, we are committed to the health and sustainability of your business and our community. We know it takes more than a loan or deposit to help you succeed. It takes people who know you, your business, and your community. Who says we can't be more than a bank? Pacific Continental Bank, the right bank. Learn more at therightbank.com. Member FDIC.
When you think fishing or firearms, think Mazama.
Local family-owned Mazama is your firearms headquarters and home to the Build an AR wall. Custom build an AR with all your favorite parts. They are Lane County's only CZ dealer, and they have a large selection of shotguns.
When you think fishing or firearms, think Mazama.
Local family-owned Mazama is your firearms headquarters and home to the Build an AR wall. Custom build an AR with all your favorite parts. They are Lane County's only CZ dealer, and they have a large selection of shotguns, rifles, handguns, and scopes with free bore sighting.
Team Mazama is eager and knowledgeable. They offer gun safety and concealed carry classes. Conveniently located on West 11th in the same parking lot as Lowe's. Get to Mazama and get hooked on the good life.
When you think fishing or firearms, think Mazama.
If you currently use a CPAP system, I've got an important question for you. Are you sure you're keeping your CPAP system clean enough? Like, really sure? A dirty CPAP system is a perfect breeding ground for germs. Put that mask on, and they've got a direct line to your body. Talk about a fast way to get sick. Fortunately, SoClean.com has released the world's first and only automated CPAP cleaner and sanitizer. It kills 99.9% of all CPAP germs in minutes. To introduce it to the world, they want you to try it risk-free for 30 days. Just call 1-800-422-1474. SoClean eliminates the daily hassle of washing your system by hand. There's no water, chemicals, or disassembly. Just pop in your mask, close the lid, and presto, your CPAP system is clean and fresh in minutes. Call SoClean.com to try it risk-free at home for 30 days. Supplies are limited, so don't wait. Call 1-800-422-1474. 1-800-422-1474.
Dad, this is fun. I didn't think I'd like kayaking.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, but I think it's time to head back in.
Okay. Can we go back?
Sure. Hey, be careful getting out of the boat.
It's a kayak, Dad.
I'm going to return the kayak.
Can we walk home?
How about a taxi?
It's a short fare from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a neighborhood park or green space near you. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
Hi, Mom. Is Claire's birthday party today? Me again, Mom. Where did I put my history book? Hi. Sorry, forgot one last thing. Sometimes it's hard to concentrate. At school, I start looking out the window, and then I forget what I was supposed to be thinking about. I know it seems like I don't care, but I do. It's just difficult for me. Love you, Mom. Bye.
Join parents and experts at Understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues to help your child thrive. Brought to you by Understood.org and the Ad Council.
KPNW weather, brought to you by Ramjack West. Do you have foundation problems? Ramjack can fix that. Get your free quote at ramjackwest.com.
Good morning to you and yours. This is Megan Shem with NBC 16. Giving you a look at your weather today. We had a nice weekend with dry and warm climate, but starting today, that story is going to change. We have a low front that is hanging over us, just bringing in that chance of rain all the way through the work week. Temperatures dropping about 10 degrees, staying in the 60s in Roseburg and towards the 50s, maybe creeping up into the 60s a little bit towards the coast. Low staying in the 40s, and we do have a 40% chance of rain on Tuesday, mostly cloudy skies. skies for both the coast and Roseburg. In Eugene, same sort of story. And the temperatures will stay lower than they were this weekend, so hopefully you got a chance to get out there and enjoy last weekend. Stay with us with NBC 16 for your latest weather and news. Have a good day.
Give us 15 minutes, and we'll give you something to talk about at work. Your wake-up call with Holloway in London on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
7:52. News Radio 1120 KPNW. Cloud cover today, 20% chance of rain. You need a break from the bright. You'll get that today. And not overly warm either. 67 for the top 10. Call it 52 at KPNW. You know, we were talking to Aaron about acupuncture, and I think that could be under the category of a wide wealth of ignorance and misinterpretations. And I think the colonoscopy could be in that category as well. Tomorrow, experiencing my first, one of the gifts that you get to behold when you're 50. And talking to other people that have either gone through one or have talked to many, have researched it. It seems like if I was to write down and kind of coordinate some kind of graft and sheet of information, it is all over the place. I've talked to people that will say one thing, and then I'll talk to somebody else who throws out, the opposite opinion. And to the point, I was talking to somebody last night that, we were coming off the river kayaking and had a bite to eat, and he's like, "Boy, you can't eat that." I can't eat that, but I can have this. And says, wow, this guy had 5 colonoscopies and had not had any real diet change. He said, "What else?" Well, no alcohol, no this, no that. A couple of things that you would think you could ingest, and I'm not putting alcohol on that list, but fiber and things of that nature off the list. So
I think a lot of it depends. Well, the dietary stuff notwithstanding, depends on the doctor. Because for instance, my wife. Her mother died of colon cancer. So that sends up red flags, and she has colonoscopies more than the average person does. But over the course of the last decade or so, going to essentially the same clinic that does these things, just the stuff that you have to take that cleans you out, the way that they've done that has changed.
That's about the only thing that is a constant. That is probably like the worst part of the whole thing. That you have to cleanse your body. And I thought, it doesn't happen until midday or after. I thought, well, I can, come on the air, do the show, and then take off. And apparently not so much. Apparently that would be a almost impossible feat to be ingesting all that. And then having to be, it might be, interesting to hear on the air. Oh,
no, I really wouldn't.
Out of the studio.
We're not that close to the bathroom.
All right, minutes away from James Taylor, The Wheel of Taylor, coming up on 1120 KPNW.
I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Chris with Home Comfort. When we say the one to call,
the one means no matter what the problem.
From security lighting, generator systems, panel changeouts, service upgrades, with technicians available 24/7.
Or HVAC, from routine cleanings to breakdowns. Home Comfort's an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer. So our highly skilled technicians will ready your house for any season.
Make one call to 541-345-2838.
Home Comfort. One to call.
Jerry, Shop Talk.
Hi, I want to do a kitchen remodel, but I don't know where to start.
First, assemble your kitchen cabinet.
You mean make the cabinets from scratch?
No, I mean get a cabinet of kitchen experts at Jerry's.
Oh.
We have great designers on staff to help you design the whole works. Plus, we install a gorgeous selection of cabinets and countertops at prices that are easy to swallow.
Cool.
Just make an appointment and get cooking.
Can you do gluten-free?
Absolutely. Vegan, too.
How about paleo?
I'm Gary Conley with today's Money Minute. Recently, I told you that the whole us versus them theme that's infected the current political landscape is actually grounded in truthiness instead of real data. Truthiness is a term coined by comedian Stephen Colbert that means something that seems true without any critical examination of facts, logic, or evidence to prove that it is. It's just because it feels right. Truthiness is often used to obscure reality and manipulate your instincts, emotions, and actions, like voting, for instance. Now consider income inequality. Truthiness has framed this as the 1% versus the 99, meaning the 1% of the population with the highest incomes versus all the rest of us. Of course, mathematically, there is a 1%, but the real problem of inequality of income, wealth, and more importantly, opportunity is not split 99-1. It's more like a 25-75% divide, according to research done by the Center for Household Financial Stability at the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis. Here's the nugget. Unlike the Open Market Committee, where Janet Yellen and others set interest rates, this part of the Fed is pretty much politically neutral. Their research shows that it's the top 25% of the population that controls most of our wealth. But that doesn't have quite the same ring as 1% when it comes to making people angry. More soon. I'm Gary Conley, and that's today's Money Minute.
The Bloomberg Market Report, sponsored by Pacific Continental Bank, serving your business and community in Eugene for over 40 years.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. Stocks are bouncing around near the flat line. The Dow is up 12 points, the Nasdaq down 6, and the S&P down a fraction as oil futures pare their losses. Crude futures now down just pennies to just over $49 a barrel. And as Wall Street looks ahead to a Fed meeting and Britain's vote on exiting the EU. Shares of Smith & Wesson moving sharply higher after the Orlando nightclub shootings. Stock in gun makers typically rises after mass shootings as investors speculate that tougher gun control measures may be enacted and as people rush to buy guns before possible new measures take effect. Shares of Smith & Wesson up about 7%, Sturm Ruger up 8%. With department stores struggling, Simon Property Group could increase rents by releasing their space. Bloomberg Intelligence says with Penny, Sears, and Macy's all closing stores, many Simon redevelopments have non-traditional anchors like Dick's Sporting Goods and food or entertainment-oriented tenants. I'm Adrienne Mitchell, Bloomberg Radio.
Fox News, fair and balanced. We report, you decide. On News Radio 1120 KPNW Eugene Springfield.
This is a Fox News alert. I'm Dave Anthony. This is how it ended. Omar Mateen died in that hail of bullets as a SWAT team moved in early yesterday to stop his shooting rampage at a gay nightclub in Orlando.
48 of the 49 victims have been identified.
That's Mayor Buddy Dyer. 5 of the 53 wounded are in grave condition as investigators comb through Mateen's condo, going through his computer. He had called 911 during the attack to pledge allegiance to ISIS, though others who knew him claim Mateen was racist and anti-gay. He was twice investigated by the FBI in the past for inflammatory comments and possible terror attacks. One thing we've just learned in the past hour.
Mateen traveled to Saudi Arabia in 2011 and 2012. One of the things the FBI is doing right now is they're building out a complete picture to nail down that timeline.
Fox's Catherine Herridge says they're investigating about 100 leads.
And we know from the reporting of FoxNews.com that he was also a follower of a gang leader turned bank robber, Marcus Dwayne Robertson, who was released last year and has a history of inciting violence.
Of course, this being an election year, there is strong political reaction. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Dave, presumptive Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump says President Obama should step down for not using the words radical Islam in association with the attack. He's also defending his proposed ban on Muslims coming to America, telling Fox News.
People coming in from Syria where we have no idea who they are.
Presumptive Democratic nominee Hillary Clinton told the NBC Today show a Muslim ban would play right into the hands of ISIS.
I'm not going to demonize and demagogue and declare war on an entire religion. That's just plain dangerous.
Trump is expected to deliver a speech on national security today in New Hampshire. Dave?
Rachel, Jesse Ventura has just lost the $1.8 million judgment the former wrestler turned Minnesota governor won over the book American Sniper. Ventura claims the late author Chris Kyle defamed him. A federal appeals court ordered a new trial. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
This tip of the week brought to you by Neurospine Institute.
You probably don't think about your neck much until it hurts. With stresses such as poor posture, tension, muscle strain, or injuries from accidents or sports, it's no wonder your neck is at risk for pain and injury. The physicians at Neurospine Institute can diagnose the cause of your neck problem through a physical exam and diagnostic tests. Then, they'll determine the best course of treatment for you through improved self-care, physical therapy and exercise, medication, or surgery.
Are you living with chronic pain? The specialists at Neurospine Institute can diagnose the problem and develop a personalized treatment plan to address your symptoms. Their comprehensive services include clinical and surgical procedures, sports medicine, physical therapy, medical imaging, and pain management. Neurospine Institute's medical professionals will work closely with your primary care or referring physician to ensure that you receive the best care and treatment. They serve all of Western Oregon with 2 locations, the main campus in Eugene and their Roseburg clinic. Visit neurospinellc.com today and get your life back.
President Obama vowed to close Guantanamo before he took office, but that prison remains open, still housing 80 terror suspects. And
Reuters is reporting that senior White House officials have concluded that they lack a strong legal position to do so by executive order. Without executive action, the chances of closing the prison would hinge on convincing a skeptical Republican-led Congress to overturn its long-standing ban on bringing the remaining prisoners to maximum security prisons in the U.S. At the White House, John Decker, Fox News.
The first Baltimore police officer to go on trial in Freddie Gray's death, William Porter, has been called to testify in another cop's trial. Caesar Goodson, whose case is being heard by a judge. He was the driver of the van Gray suffered his fatal injuries in last year and faces the most serious charges, including murder. Porter's own trial ended in a hung jury, and he's awaiting a retrial later this year. Another officer was acquitted. 3 more were also charged. Remember sleeping till noon as a teenager? Well, I sure do. And there's new research into just how much sleep kids need. Fox's Jeff Manasso details it live.
Dave, new guidelines from the American Academy of Sleep Medicine say that teenagers should be getting 8 to 10 hours of sleep per night. Children ages 1 to 2 should sleep 11 to 14 hours and 12 to 16 hours of sleep, including naps for infants aged 4 to 12 months, saying that adequate sleep is linked to improved attention, behavior, learning, mental, and physical health. The American Academy of Pediatrics, which endorses the new guidelines, also recommends that TV and computer screens are turned off a half hour before bedtime and that parents not allow kids to have screens in their bedrooms. Dave.
Jeff, the U.S. Supreme Court says Puerto Rico cannot restructure the debt of its financially ailing public utilities to help overcome an economic crisis. It means the U.S. territory has to wait for Congress to pass debt relief legislation to help with its fiscal crisis. On Wall Street, the Dow is down 1 point. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News Radio.
Gentleman called in to say that he had a colonoscopy, the first one he had. They didn't put him out. No local. He said it was like the worst bit of pain. It was probably the closest you could have for a gentleman to have somewhat of the feeling that you're giving birth. Wow. Yeah, hopefully things have changed remarkably. All right, 11:20 KPNW, Monday, June 13th could be your lucky number, your lucky day. And we're talking about July 15th, Matthew Knight Arena. It's a Friday, so that's a good thing. Going to kick off the weekend in fine fashion. And all week, we'll be giving tickets to James Taylor away. Getting ready with, I guess, and we don't know when it's going to happen, but someone's going to get front row and little OES action.
Yeah, $100 from Oregon Electric Station and a pair of front row tickets to go see JT. Now, if you notice over there, I have quickly refurbed our. Isn't that nice looking? Isn't that nice?
Yeah, very good.
Look at that! Look at that! Go. Yeah, grand prize. That's what it says right there. Grand prize.
So that whole area right there would be grand prize.
That little teeny area. That's right.
Okay.
It's about a fifth.
Okay.
All right, so here's the deal. We're going to spin the wheel of Taylor. All right, but we're going to spin it for you. So what you have to do is you have to call us at 541-485-5769. Got to be over 18, and you can't have won anything in the last 30 days. So anything on the air, that is. I mean, if you went out to a Thirsty Thursday and won something, that's okay. So 541-485-5769. So you'll have a 1 in 5 chance of actually winning the front row tickets. Otherwise, you may not win the front row tickets, but at the very least, if you are a caller, you are going to win tickets.
What, caller number what?
I don't know. We can go caller number 4.
Caller, you sure?
Yeah, let's go caller 4.
All right, caller number 4. So this is caller number 1.
You're
Thank you
number
for
1.
trying.
Yeah.
You're not the winner.
Yeah.
Caller number 2. Thanks for calling KPNW. KPNW, you're caller number 3. That means the next person to ring in
is going to be it.
Is going to, well, somehow.
Yeah, they're going to win something.
KPNW, good morning.
Hi.
Good morning.
How are you?
All right, am I caller number 4?
You are caller number 4. What's your name?
Mike.
Mike, are you just like thrilled to be able to go see James Taylor?
I am, actually.
Okay, well, we're going to give you your chance. We're going to spin the wheel of Taylor, and Rob, go ahead and do that.
Give me a 1, 2, 3, go.
1, 2, 3, go.
And our winner is for James. You got a pair of passes to go see James Taylor.
Awesome.
So congratulations.
Last time I saw him was at the Cuthbert.
Oh, all right. Well, good deal. We're going to have you hang on the line. We'll give you some information, and I appreciate you calling in this morning.
Great. Thanks a lot, you guys.
All right, you too. Hang on the line. Thanks for calling. It's 8:08 News Radio 1120 KPNW. Somebody coined the phrase, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. If that's true, why do people eat such weird stuff for breakfast? Fried dough, rolled in sugar, mystery meat on an English muffin, stale bread dipped in egg and fried? If breakfast is important, treat it that way with a breakfast from Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones. You get real food real fast, and it's real good. It's no mystery. I'm the bacon guy and love their bacon burritos with 2 types of bacon, I'll remind you. But Burrito Amigos can set you up with link sausage, huevos rancheros, chorizo, meatless burritos, or my new almost favorite, the machaca burrito with black Angus steak, sauteed onions, and green peppers mixed in with potatoes. Delicious. That's a Bill London endorsement, by the way. And mornings were also made for coffee. So stop by the kiosk on 6th in Eugene or 42nd in Springfield and enjoy an espresso along with your meal. Breakfast shouldn't just be important, it should be good. Burrito Amigos in Eugene and Springfield.
Get set to save now at Mid-Valley Tractor, your local Kubota dealer. Take command of your lawn care needs with a new Kubota Commander zero-turn mower. Get commercial-grade performance and a full 4-year factory warranty at a price you can afford. Now during the Get Set to Save sales event, get a special introductory price of $38.99 and 0 down and 0% financing for 36 months. Now through June 30, 2016. Call toll-free 1-800-794-4992 for details about cost and terms. Great prices, great products from people you can trust. Mid-Valley Tractor on Highway 99.
A Budweiser, America, and Florida-Georgia line.
I still remember our first big show. Budweiser's in the air, and hearing the crowd sing our song.
That's when it really feels like America is in our hands.
And when I'm holding an ice cold Budweiser that says America on the front.
That too. Cheers.
This Bud's for you.
Enjoy responsibly. Budweiser Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Today's top stories. In depth. This is the Wake Up Call on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
And good morning. This look at the news brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones, featuring great breakfast burritos and fresh brewed, locally roasted coffee for a tasty start to your morning. Here's what's going on. From Pope Francis to Vladimir Putin, world leaders are expressing condolences for the Orlando massacre. For a look at global reaction, here's Fox's Alistair Wanklin.
Russia's President Vladimir Putin expressed condolences. China's leader Xi Jinping phoned President Obama, and Beijing's foreign ministry said China stands with Americans at this time. Queen Elizabeth sent a message, and Pope Francis spoke of horror. German Chancellor Angela Merkel paid tribute to the people giving blood to the victims, and Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe said terrorism of this kind attacks the values held by Japan too. In Tokyo, Alistair Wanklin.
Oregon Governor Kate Brown on Sunday ordered all flags at Oregon public institutions to be flown at half-staff immediately until sunset on Thursday in honor of the victims of the Orlando shooting. Then she immediately politicized the event by renewing her partisan calls for gun control. Well, the shooting at the Pulse nightclub in Orlando, Florida is also renewing the debate on gun control on Capitol Hill. Oregon Senator Ron Wyden says it'll take bipartisan cooperation to reach a solution.
Work with other members of the Senate, both political parties, take all responsible steps to improve the safety of our community.
Wyden says it'll take time to investigate what motivated the gunman, although it's already known that the shooter was an ISIS follower, that he was raised by a pro-Talibani Afghan father. The ATF says Omar Mateen got his 2 guns legally in the last few days. Even if there was a ban on the type of weapon that Mateen used, his security designation for the company he worked for would still have allowed him to purchase the gun that he used. Well, a fired employee is suing the Eugene Emeralds over her dismissal that she says occurred after she blew the whistle on liquor violations at the minor league team's games. The Emeralds team manager, Alan Bonavides, and the team's owner, Elmore Sports Group, are named as defendants. Former food and beverage manager Nicole Oakes said in her lawsuit that she saw Elmore clients violate liquor laws, serve themselves booze, and bring their own into the park. The lawsuit says Benavides yelled and cursed at Oakes when she brought up the incidents. Oakes said Elmore officials fired her in December. The lawsuit seeks $75,000 in damages. Oregon businesses are gearing up for the fight of their lives to head off a controversial new business tax on the November ballot. Brad Ford says they warned that IP28 could drain their wallets, and yours too.
The gross receipts tax would pour about $3 billion a year into state coffers. Emily Powell says it means a huge tax increase for her business, Powell's Books in Portland.
It'll be at least a 20-time increase on our current tax bill.
A report from Oregon's Office of Economic Analysis indicates companies subject to IP28 could see 10 to 68-fold increases in their yearly taxes.
Pacific Power has done that analysis. We figure it's about $40 million.
Scott Bolton with Pacific Power says that increase could mean a 3 to 4% customer rate hike. That's not an option for Powell's due to internet competition and prices set by publishers.
We will possibly have to curtail services or change the way we do business in order to pay this bill.
I'm Brad Ford, KPNW News.
Benton County Commissioner Annabelle Yarmio has pleaded guilty to drunk driving and has been ordered to complete a diversion program. Benton County Circuit Court Judge David Cannell ordered the longtime commissioner to complete an approved treatment program and install an ignition interlock device on her vehicle. Yarmio was pulled over while returning home from a campaign fundraiser April 26th, where she had been drinking. Philomath Police said the commissioner registered a blood alcohol level well above the legal limit. Yarmio is seeking a 5th term in office. Diversion treatments are a way of resolving first offense Dewey cases in Oregon. If she fulfills the terms of the agreement, the charge would be dismissed and she would not have a conviction on her record, which is convenient if you're an elected leader. Crews cleaning up the train that derailed a week ago in the Columbia River Gorge are making significant progress, Brad Ford reports.
When the train carrying Bakken crude oil derailed, 16 cars went off the tracks. 4 of them burned, and once the fire was out, crews had to transfer the oil from the damaged cars to tanks and remove the cars. That is now complete. All of the tankers have been moved to a metal recycler in Portland. Contaminated soil is being removed and replaced, and work continues to repair the damage to the Mosier Water Treatment Plant. Managers of the operation say they're moving from the emergency mode to recovery mode as their work continues. Brad Ford, KPNW.
Well, railroad officials say at least one broken bolt holding the rail in place caused the fiery derailment of that Union Pacific train that was moving the crude through the Columbia River Gorge. Union Pacific spokesman Justin Jacobs says the company filed a report with the Federal Railroad Administration citing one or more broken bolts as the cause of the June 3rd derailment. He says the company is now in the process of checking similar bolts in curved sections of its 32,000 miles of track in 23 states. Well, one thing is for sure, the idea of moving oil or other hazardous materials through the gorge has definitely gotten the ire of a number of people, including Steve Lawrence, the mayor of the Dalles, who says the area is too sensitive for any trains carrying hazardous materials.
No more oil, no more coal, no more hazardous materials going down the National Scenic Area.
His call for a ban on the trains joins tribal members and other environmentalists who demonstrated last week. A federal report shows this summer's stream flow in Oregon is better than last, but the flow levels are expected to recede earlier than usual. The June report from the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Natural Resources Conservation Service says April's warm temperatures caused the winter snowpack to melt early. That caused earlier peaks in river flows. Scott Oviatt with the Conservation Service says municipalities, fisheries, and others that rely on stream flow should expect shortages. Last year, when most of Oregon was categorized as in extreme to severe drought, the statewide snowpack peaked at the lowest levels measured in the last 35 years. Oviatt says there's been significant improvement from last year, but noted conditions could worsen if it gets too hot and too dry. Officials on Sunday lifted all evacuation notices for residents in about 700 homes near wildfires burning in central Oregon. The Oregon Department of Forestry says the fire has scorched 2,100 acres, and about 72% of that fire was contained as of last night. No structures have been lost. Residents throughout Oregon are being told to prepare for the fire season by being ready to go in case of an evacuation. The cost of fighting this current fire has hit $2.3 million. More than 600 personnel and 5 helicopters have been assigned to fight that fire. It was ignited by lightning last Tuesday. A judge has ruled a Portlander can legally change gender identification from man or woman to non-binary. Brad Ford has that story.
Jamie Shoup had completed a sex change from male to female, then asked a Multnomah County judge to change Shoup's legal status to neither. Willamette Week reports Judge Amy Holmes Hain granted the request, changing Shoup's status to non-binary. Advocates say the ruling is a momentous step in recognizing the rights of transgender and non-conforming people. Shoup says the judge's decision is incredibly liberating and hopes it sets a national precedent. Brad Ford, KPNW.
Well, most schools are out for the summer, and that gives kids time to play outside. Providence nurse Lori Herrera says when kids are playing in the hot sun, you need to take precautions.
It's kind of hard to get them to stop doing something really fun to drink water, but it's incredibly important because it can lead to dehydration, which can cause a lot of problems. You can get very sick.
Cover them with sunscreen. The new spray types are the easiest, but remember, it still needs to be rubbed in to be effective. She also says you should require kids to wear helmets and other protective gear when they're biking or skateboarding. Well, thousands of graduates, along with their friends and families, packed Reser Stadium Saturday for the University of Oregon's 147th commencement. Oregon State University said more than 6,400 graduates are expected to receive degrees this year, which is a record-breaking number for the university. They said graduates from the class of 2016 come from all over. 36 Oregon counties were represented, all of them. All 50 states are represented at OSU's and even 63 nations around the world. And while the average age of the class is 25, the youngest to graduate was 19, the oldest 73. Oregon State says it's only one of a few universities to actually hand out real diplomas to students as they graduate. It's 8:20. This look at the news brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones. You're up to date from KPNW.
Wake Up Call Sports on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
So I guess it looks like the coaching change for the Pittsburgh Penguins in December was a good call. After the San Jose Sharks forced a Game 6, beating the Pittsburgh Penguins on their home ice, the Sharks hoped for a win in Game 6 to force Game 7. That didn't happen. Sidney Crosby and the rest of the Pens took care of business, won 3-1 to secure their first Stanley Cup since 2009. Sid the Kid named the MVP. Second title in as many days could happen tonight as the Golden State Warriors might win their second title, but it's a tough order. Their talented but immature forward Draymond Green suspended after it was determined he had been leveled with a flagrant 1 for hitting LeBron James in the midsection, and retaliation for LeBron stepping over him. He can't even be in the building tonight. Warriors are up 3-1, Game 5 of the NBA Finals tonight. After day 1 of the NCAA Track and Field Championships, it appeared the Oregon women out of title contention. In day 2, they even had a short 12-point lead, though, on Arkansas because of Ariana Washington and Deja Stevens going 1-2 in the 200 meters.
Razorbacks simply too much left in the arsenal, winning the championship 72 points. But the Ducks held on for second, 62, scoring 58 on Saturday. Missing Hannah Cunliffe and Jasmine Todd did not help. Oregon's Raven Rogers, repeated as the 800 meters champion, had this to say about what it's like to be competing, or what it will be like at the Olympic trials.
I know that's going to take a lot of heart and way more than talent, because everyone's talented, really. But it takes a lot of heart and smart running, since it's 3 rounds.
Oregon men, by the way, finished 4th on Friday. Oregon baseball shortstop Mark Karaviotis and center fielder Austin Graybeck joined pitchers Matt Crook, Cole Irvin, and Steven Nagosic, who were picked in the MLB draft over the weekend. Wake Up Call Sports, brought to you by Max Muscle, where you can always try it before you buy it. On Franklin, across our market of choice. News time, 8:22.
KPNW weather, brought to you by Ramjack West. Do you have foundation problems? Ramjack can fix that. Get your free quote at ramjackwest.com.
Good morning to you and yours. This is Megan Shem with NBC 16 and a look at your weather. Hopefully you had a chance to get outside this week and enjoy that warm and sunny, dry climate that we had, because it's all about to change today. We have a low front hanging over us, bringing in the colder temperatures, a drop in about 10 degrees for the highs in Eugene, staying in the 60s mainly throughout the work week. Lows staying in the 40s, mostly cloudy skies. 40% chance of rain on Monday, and on Tuesday, 60% chance of rain as well. Throughout the whole week, we have a slight chance of rain continuing on and off, so stay with us on NBC 16 for your latest weather and news. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day.
Ramjack leads the way in foundation repair. Protect your investment. Get your free in-home evaluation at ramjackwest.com. Check out our exceptional online reviews, then choose Ramjack.
CCB 146906.
The best window sale in Oregon just keeps getting better.
Discount Windows Final 99 sale.
Thousands of overstock windows on site, including Ply Gem windows.
Factory first overstock windows, just $99 each.
Or less.
Why less, Vic? $99 is an amazing deal.
Lee, the lowest prices on overstock is one reason we're Discount Windows.
You're good, and so is this sale.
Discount Windows, Highway 99, Junction City, open 7 days a week.
Is your body getting enough protein every day? Try Max Pro at Max Muscle. These protein shakes are packed with protein, very low carbs, and zero sugar. Chocolate malt, strawberry banana smoothie, blueberry, and more. Max Muscle. Try it before you buy it. Franklin Boulevard, across from the Market of Choice.
And now for a message from Gerber Life Grow Up Plan. Attention parents and grandparents, do you want to help give your child a great financial head start in life? You can. For just pennies a day now, you can give them $10,000 in whole life insurance that doubles to $20,000 at no extra cost during age 18. Later on, regardless to their health or job, your child has the right to buy additional coverage at adult rates, providing total coverage of up to $100,000. The Grow Up Plan also builds cash value you can borrow from. Low childhood rates that lock in for the life of the policy, benefits that double, plus the right to add more. That's security and valuable protection from Gerber Life, a name known and respected for generations. Get started now. Call Gerber Life Grow Up Plan at 800-372-4043. That's 800-372-4043, or visit us at mygrowupplan.com. Remember, it costs you just pennies a day now. For free information or to sign up now, call 800-372-4043. Gerber Life Insurance Company, White Plains, New York 10605. Policy Form Series GPP 12. Policy Form ICC 12 GPP. The Grow Up Insurance policy contains terms which may affect the benefits provided. Please contact us for costs and details of coverage. Interest rates apply to any policy loans.
This weekend, Columbia Drag Boat Association rocks Dexter Reservoir at Lowell State Park for the first race of the season. 1,000 horsepower boats screaming down the quarter mile at 150 miles per hour. Action starts at 9 a.m. on Saturday for qualifying and racing on Sunday. $10 on Saturday, 12 on Sunday, or 20 for the weekend. Kids 12 and under are free. $2 discount coupons available at Bi-Mart. Drag boats at Lowell State Park on Dexter Reservoir this weekend. CDBARacing.com for more info.
When you need painting, you want the best. Fitzpatrick Painting. Don't settle for less.
Specializing in house repaints, interior and exterior, and commercial buildings, Fitzpatrick Painting also provides a full line of carpentry services and so much more. Experience the difference. Find them at fitzpatrickpainting.com for your free estimate and more information.
Fitzpatrick Painting, unsurpassed in customer service and quality.
So, who's going to do what? Flashlights?
Nowhere to be found.
Emergency supply kits?
Not packed.
What about blankets?
We have an old towel.
Cell phones?
May not work.
Emergency water?
Not a drop.
Perfect. We all know where we're meeting if we're separated.
The library. On Jones House. The bus stop.
And I'll be waiting here wondering where you all are. Great. It sounds like we don't have a plan.
Winging it is not an emergency plan. Make sure your kids know what to do during an emergency, who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
All right, boys. A 1, a 2.
The Wake Up Call with Holloway in London on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
News Radio 1120 KPNW. Hard to believe how fast the weather changed. It was a gorgeous start to the morning, perfectly clear, everything looking wonderful outside. And of course, the last 2 hours, clouds rolling in, and off that one direction, it looks like maybe a little rain in the offing. So that's a possibility for today. Not really what you would call heavy rain, just sprinkler or shower or two. So that said, welcome to summer in Oregon.
Yeah, no doubt. Oregon calls a misting, though, rain. It's just something to cool you off. We're trying to reach our 825. Ben with the Schnitzer Museum have a pretty cool exhibit that we want to talk about, and he's the curator, so we're efforting to get him on the show. If you missed it, our winner for the James Taylor tickets, Mike Garson of Eugene. No, Ganson. Mike Ganson of Eugene. He is the recipient of James Taylor tickets. That means he didn't win the grand prize, which is front row and OES, which is kind of, July 15th. He would be in for a little date night.
So all you have to do is listen, because the next few mornings we're going to give you your chance to win the tickets and win the grand prize as well. We're spinning the wheel of Taylor. So there's a small slot on our wheel, and, if you hit it, when we spin for you vicariously, you could be winning from KPNW. Next chance coming up tomorrow morning.
All right, going on through July 10th at the Jordan Schnitzer Museum of Art, over there on the lovely campus of the University of Oregon, an exhibit called Aliens, Monsters, and Madmen, the Art of EC Comics. To talk about its curator, Professor Ben Saunders, on the Wake Up Call. Professor, great to have you.
Hi, thanks for having me, Rob.
Absolutely. Now, I see, as we kind of do a little research on this event, that you have curated other comic-centrist exhibits, from superheroes to Peanuts. Sounds like you have a little obsession with the comics and the illustrations of such.
Yeah, obsession sounds about right. I'm sure that's what my wife would say. Yes, I've loved this stuff since I was about 6 years old. It's how I learned to read.
Are you a comics collector, just out of curiosity?
Yes, I am. Although probably not. Everything I would really like to have now is out of my financial reach. You know how crazy that stuff's gone in the last few years.
Yeah, absolutely. Why EC of all of them?
Well, that's a great question. So EC were publishing at what I think is kind of a turning point in the history of the comics medium, where people were just starting to see the artistic potential of comics, and at the same time, that's within the industry, and at the same time, there was a moral panic that had been rising since the late 1940s about the potentially dangerous effects of comics upon the minds of young people. EC becomes a sort of a flashpoint. The publications of the company become these sort of central texts in an argument over the value of the comics medium as a whole. And at the same time, they happened to be able to attract some of the most accomplished artists in the period, and they were doing genuinely subversive work in terms of the politics of the period. We think of the 1950s nowadays as a very conservative decade. Cold War paranoia, racism, backlash against women, and so on. And EC were sort of fighting their own little subversive battle against these things through Mad Magazine, through their science fiction stories, where they reveal a kind of a strain of more exciting subversive politics going on in the 1950s. So for all of those reasons, I thought it would be a great show.
Professor, how did it survive through? I mean, when we talk about the 40s and 50s, when we have the criticism. How do you think it was able to remain pertinent?
Well, that's another reason why the show is so important and valuable, because EC ended up being closed down by the forces of reaction. They were most active between 1950 and 1955, 56, and they really caught such heat from parents, politicians, and scandal-mongering journalists who were just really, I think, looking for headlines. And as a result, it became impossible for Bill Gaines, the publisher of EC, to get his books distributed after about 1955. The only thing that survived was Mad, and it survived by becoming a magazine. The first 23 issues of Mad were a comic book, but then this thing called the Comics Code Authority was created. I don't know if you remember this, if you read comics in the 80s or anything like that. Do you remember the stamp, the Comics Code Authority stamp that was on the cover? So that authority gets formed in the 1950s, and they basically check the contents of every comic book that would be sold on an American newsstand. And if they didn't approve the contents, the book wouldn't get distribution. That started in the mid-50s, and no EC titles could get distribution. So Gaines turned Mad into a magazine, which didn't have to go through this authority. And Mad survived and went on to become one of the, legend of American popular culture and one of the best-selling satirical magazines in U.S. history. But Mad was the only thing that survived. The story would not have a happy ending at all if it weren't for Mad, because every other EC title, Tales from the Crypt, Weird Science, Shock Suspense Stories, all of those other great titles were canceled.
Well, one of the things about the Comics Code was that it listed certain things that could, actually what couldn't be in comic books, and some of them were absolutely ridiculous. And if you look at the comic books pre-Comics Code versus post-Comic Code, they're almost ridiculous. I mean, they're insipid. They're so ridiculous.
And they're highly political. I mean, there were things like, EC had done. There was a very brave EC story called Undercover, for example, from 1952, in which the central character is witness to a murder that is committed by the Klan. And one of the things that he discovers over the course of the story is that there are Klansmen in positions of authority, judges and law enforcement and journalists in the town. I don't know of any children's literature as people still regarded it. In fact, I can think of very few pieces of American popular culture, generally from the early 1950s, that even acknowledge the existence of the Klan, let alone point out that there are Klansmen in positions of authority and show them getting away with terrible things. So one of the rules for the code was you were not allowed to show a member of law enforcement committing a crime. You were not allowed, all authority figures, teachers, judges, everybody was supposed to be represented as always on the side of righteousness. And we know that that's just not reality. I mean, even, by the time people are 13 years old, they figured out that is not reality.
Talk a little bit about, and I don't know how much this has to do with the exhibit, but talk about the book Seduction of the Innocent, because that was sort of, if you will, the catalyst that really pushed the drive towards the comic code.
Sure. So Seduction of the Innocent was written by a man named Frederick Wortham. He was a psychologist from, he actually founded one of the first free mental health clinics in New York. So he's not a purely evil figure by any means. Wortham might have gone into this battle genuinely believing that he was doing the right thing. He believed through his experiences as a mental health care person who was involved in treating juvenile delinquents, one of the things that he noticed was that all of these kids who came to the clinic who were in trouble also all read comic books, and so he drew this absurd connection between the reading of comic books and the behavior of juvenile delinquents. I mean, they all drank milk and chewed gum as well, and he didn't blame those things. But up until that time, what the anti-comics movement had been missing was a leader and a figurehead. And he became that person. He became the public face, if you like, of the anti-comics movement. And with him, if you ever see film of him speaking, he's almost like a caricature himself of a idea of a psychiatrist that people have. He has this Austrian accent, so he will speak in this very sort of, in the 1950s, I think what a lot of people thought was just sort of a vision of European intellectualness. He would sit there and say, I believe these comics are doing terrible things to children. And this made everybody react. He was considered very believable at the time.
Talking to curator Professor Ben Saunders. Real quick, we have about a minute left. Talk about some of the core items that you are most proud of that you think people should definitely check out when they come to the Schnitzer.
Oh, well, we have some really key early Mad material. We have covers of Mad going right back to the beginning. We have, including some work by Basil Wolverton, an Oregon-born artist who did truly amazing work. We have some wonderful science fiction stories by Wallace Wood, who was a huge influence on the imagination of George Lucas and Steven Spielberg. The interior of the Millennium Falcon looks like a Wallace Wood design. And we have several pieces by him. We have Al Williamson, who drew the Star Wars comic later in the 1980s, doing some of his great early work, too. He got the job of drawing Star Wars because George Lucas loved his work on EC in the 50s. We have crime work by Johnny Craig, horror stories by Graham Ingalls. I mean, there's really, in terms of the genre material, if you like, crime, horror, science fiction, we have something for everybody.
How much would a Wally Wood original go for now?
Oh, a cover, a particularly desirable cover, between $60,000 and $120,000, depending on the particular work. The highest valued piece commercially that we have in the show is actually by Frank Frazetta. We have a Frank Frazetta cover from Weird Science Fantasy, which is valued at over $500,000.
Runs through July 10th, Aliens, Monsters, and Madmen, The Art of EC Comics, the curator, Ben Saunders. Thank you so much for the time.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah, appreciate that. Part of your morning. 8:39, Alan Sachs coming up next.
The Bloomberg Market Report, sponsored by Pacific Continental Bank, serving your business and community in Eugene for over 40 years.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. Stocks started out with modest losses, then modest gains. Now it's a mixed picture. The Dow up 7, the Nasdaq down 14, and the S&P down 2 points as oil pairs its losses. Crude futures now trading at just over $49 a barrel. LinkedIn is zooming ahead after Microsoft said it would buy the business networking site for more than $26 billion. LinkedIn shares are jumping 47%. Following a mass shooting, there usually are calls for changes to gun laws. This often has led to higher gun sales as people boost their supply of weapons ahead of possible new regulation. Gun makers are seeing their stocks rise. Smith & Wesson shares are up 8%, Sturm Ruger up nearly 11%. Part of McDonald's plan to be a more modern company is to move its headquarters from the Chicago suburbs to the city. McDonald's has announced plans to relocate from Oak Brook, Illinois, in an effort to more easily attract new and younger employees. I'm Adrienne Mitchell, Bloomberg Radio.
Pacific Continental Bank is proud to call the Eugene-Springfield area home for more than 40 years. As your local banker, partner, and neighbor, we are committed to the health and sustainability of your business and our community. We know it takes more than a loan or deposit to help you succeed. It takes people who know you, your business, and your community. Who says we can't be more than a bank? Pacific Continental Bank, the right bank. Learn more at therightbank.com. Member FDIC.
Built for business. Waiting. No one enjoys it. With Comcast Business, you can do less of it. Because Comcast Business Internet is up to 5 times faster than DSL from the phone company, which means less waiting for things like security backups and file downloads. Plus, it's a better value when you select the fastest plan. So do what nearly 1,000 businesses do every day and choose Comcast Business. Unless you'd prefer to wait. Switch to Comcast Business Internet. Then add 1 voice line and TV for just $34.90 a month for 2 years. And ask about their low price guarantee. Call 800-501-6000 or visit ComcastBusiness.com. That's 800-501-6000. Comcast Business. Built for business.
Offer ends 8/31/16. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and fees, including broadcast TV fee extra. Compares Comcast 100 megabits per second and 20 megabits per second DSL downloads.
Tune in to Real Estate Today, weekdays at 5:30 p.m.
I'm Bob Nelson.
And I'm Marcia Edwards of the Real Estate Today Show. We've been standing next to Mark Brockett of Willamette Valley Bank Home Loan Division. He is an amazing lender for residential loans.
He has an opportunity to take a look at your situation, identify, but for instance, should you refinance? It could save you a lot of money for a number of years to come. Fantastic.
That's Mark Brockett. Call him today.
You can reach Mark Brockett at 541-431-0236. That's Willamette Valley Bank Home Loan Division at 315 Coburg Road.
Father's Day is coming up. And wouldn't it be great to give Dad a gift he'll appreciate all year long? Spring, summer, fall, and of course winter. I'm David McNeil, founder of WeatherTech. Dad's car, truck, or SUV can take a beating from the season's dirt, sand, mud, and just about anything tracked back to his vehicle, which can ruin the floor. And the best way to protect it is with WeatherTech floor liners. We design, engineer, and manufacture right here in America, using American raw materials, tooling, and equipment, and of course, American workers. This Father's Day, order WeatherTech floor liners and give Dad a gift he can use all year round, so he'll never have to worry about spills or messes damaging his vehicle again. And when messes do happen, they easily rinse right off. To learn more about our full line of automotive accessories, go to WeatherTech.com or call 1-800-CarMats. For the ultimate vehicle protection, choose WeatherTech, proudly made in America. And from all of us at WeatherTech, Happy Father's Day.
Mornings are a little different with the Wake Up Call.
No, it's a very odd show.
Holloway and London on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
843 News Radio 1120 KPNW. Oops! Was it a slip, or were they just for the first time being honest about it? The White House has confirmed that there is a criminal probe over the Clinton emails, which pretty much detonates Hillary Clinton's suggestion that merely what's going on is a security inquiry. Press Secretary Josh Earnest used the term criminal investigation last week when being asked about whether President Obama's newly unveiled endorsement of Clinton might apply pressure to investigators assigned to the Clinton case. Joining us on the wake-up call this morning to talk about it, oh, look who's here. It's Professor Alan Sachs, the unofficial, official political scientist of the state of Texas, joining us again from the University of Arlington. He joins us on the wake-up call. Hi, Prof.
Good morning. I'm ready. I'm a walking Google. I can talk about anything.
Okay, a walking Google. I love this. All right, so what do you think? Was this just a slip of the tongue? Or was it just, for once, somebody actually being honest?
I think it was being honest, but it doesn't amount to anything. She's not going to be indicted. It doesn't matter what happens. Nobody cares about her emails, as Bernie Sanders said in that very first debate. It's really gone, and most Americans, especially the left, the Democratic Party, doesn't care about it. She'll be nominated, of course, at the convention this July, and she'll get Bernie Sanders' support. And President Obama has already endorsed her. And that, I think, was a pretty good clue, is last week when President Obama endorsed her, I think it really showed the hand of the administration. They're not about to go after her in criminal charges or any other issues. The Justice Department will get the information from the FBI, but as a lot of people have been suggesting, the Department of Justice is not going to move on that. And it's interesting because there was a Judge Janine who's on Fox News television over the weekend, and she said something very interesting. She said the reason why nothing's going to come of this is that President Obama has also sent emails to this private server of Secretary of State Clinton when she was Secretary of State, and he doesn't want to be implicated in it. So I think there's something to that. And if the FBI even gave an indictment request to the Department of Justice, they're not going to act on it because they don't want a constitutional crisis, and that's probably correct. So I think it's all wrapped up in a nice gift to Mrs. Clinton during this campaign.
So you think that do you think the FBI is going to fold on it then, or is it going to be the Attorney General who says
it's probably the Attorney General? The FBI really cannot go for an indictment. I've always wondered, why don't we get a special prosecutor? During the Watergate days, we had a special prosecutor. Why don't we get one this time? Of course, it'll depend on the Department of Justice, I guess, to get a special prosecutor. But the Congress, run by Republicans, I think could ask for a special prosecutor or get one themselves, and they still don't do this. So that probably is another reason it's not been broadcast very much, why a lot of Republicans are mad at the Republican establishment, so to speak, because they will not move on these things. And here's another good one, why they don't move toward getting a special prosecutor.
So essentially, this has all been show. But my question would be, will that FBI report, will that be released, or is that going to be sealed?
I don't think it'll even be released. If indeed it's given to the Department of Justice, I don't know whether they'll release it or not. Likely not. So I think the game is over as far as any issues with Mrs. Clinton's indictment. Congress will not move on it by getting a special prosecutor. The Department of Justice will not move on it because President Obama does not want to go in that direction. Again, as I mentioned earlier, his endorsement of Hillary Clinton last week, I think pretty well sealed it that President Obama is going to defend her at every corner. He's going to campaign for her. Bernie Sanders will campaign for her. And there you have the campaign. I think the Libertarians, I know I'm getting a little bit far afield in the election, the Libertarians are likely to draw a few more votes away from the Republicans than the Democrats. So the Republican Party is in real trouble, in disarray, by their constant criticism of Donald Trump and also by the Libertarian Party. And there is a very strong third party in many of the states. And I think that it's going to be a very difficult, I'm being very tough, I think it'll be very, very difficult for Donald Trump to win this election. Not impossible, but very difficult. He's up against the media. He's up against this current administration. He's up against Hillary Clinton and all of her money and operations, and it's going to be very, very tough. Not impossible, but very tough.
See, this is what it to me is really amazing. Say whatever you want about Donald Trump and whether you like him as a candidate or not like him as a candidate, think he's a great candidate or think he's the worst in the world. Regardless of what you think of him, he is the Republican candidate.
Exactly.
And what it says to me is, and what I think it should say to the Republicans in power, if you will, the Republican establishment, is that the rank and file Republicans, those that are not in office, those that actually go out and vote, don't like the Republican establishment. And instead of attacking the candidate, that they should actually at least just shut up and put up as opposed to coming out against him. I mean, like I said,
Mitt Romney very, very much in 2012. I thought he had a good chance of winning the election. I don't know what happened to him when he refused to go after President Obama on Benghazi, when that was a very, very hot issue. Mitt Romney, of course, has led the charge against Donald Trump. He did that again last week at a big meeting of influential Republican donors, probably directing the money in a different direction, maybe even toward Hillary Clinton, or at least on the sidelines. Mitt Romney is a good man, but I don't understand what he's doing at this particular point. If he felt so strongly about this election, he should have entered himself. And I think if he would have entered, I don't know when at a particular timeline, but if he would have entered, I think he would have had a good chance of getting the nomination. Instead, he stayed out and has been continually beating up on Donald Trump, essentially almost calling him a racist. And that's what a lot of people are doing these days. They're shutting down the debate by calling him a racist on almost every account.
Well, and I don't see where the Republicans are doing themselves any favors by doing this. I mean, if nothing, what they're doing is they're, alienating the majority of folks who are Republican that voted for Trump. I mean, Trump to me symbolizes, whether you like him or not, whether you love him or whether you hate him, if nothing else, he is a symbol of people that are sick and tired with the establishment and the way that politics are working in this country. The same thing goes with Bernie Sanders.
You're exactly right. But the language, and this sort of goes into what happened, that tragedy in Orlando over the weekend. You can't say anything. You can't look at somebody the wrong way without being called a racist. I have some very, very good friends, and I don't even know their political affiliation. I was talking to them over the weekend, and they were using the term racist and hurling it at the Republican Party. They're all racist. And as I tried to tell them, in the South, where I am and have lived most of my life, it was the Democratic Party that was the party of segregation, the party of slavery. They refused to acknowledge that and instead keep hurling that racist epithet at the Republican Party, which again proves the point that if you say something loud enough and often enough, it sticks. And that's exactly what the media, maybe college professors, maybe the Democratic Party itself has been able to accomplish. So the Republican Party is in really dire straits. The labels have been plastered all over them, unfair completely, but those are the labels that we have at the present time. If the Republicans lose the White House this time around, and it's very likely to happen, the entire Republican Party is going to be changed forever. I have no idea what direction it's going to take, but it's going to be a very, very different political world if the Republicans lose the White House. And everything in this society will move very, very much toward the left, even more than it has in the present time.
All right. Alan,
not a very good prognosis or a diagnosis. I wish there was a more joyful morning.
All right. Alan, Professor Sachs, thanks for being with us this morning. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. It's always appreciated.
All right. Take care. It is 8:53. That's pretty much a wrap. Coming up tomorrow, another chance for you to win James Taylor tickets as Rob goes for the big procedure. Good luck. I don't know. You can't say have a good time because of what it is. You just can't just go out and say, "Hey, man, have a good day off tomorrow," because it's not. And all I could do is go, "I wish you the best," because that's about as good as it gets.
I will probably be the most hungry I've ever been tomorrow afterwards, because you stop kind of eating tonight. You go on a clear diet, and then you stop eating sometime tomorrow, and you're cleansed. You have no pollutants in your system. I do want to thank Joyce. Joyce sent a very nice, encouraging email, and it was kind of cool. So I appreciate that, and everybody else. Hey, have a great rest. Don't forget, more James Taylor tickets, as Bill said, and maybe you'll be grand prize front row with OES. We'll find out tomorrow morning, starting at 6:05 right here.
Make sure you check out SM Gun Shop before you buy at a big box store. SM Gun Shop takes trades, and they have a large selection of quality used firearms with competitive pricing. SM Gun Shop on River Road in Eugene, serving Lane County's gun enthusiasts since 1980.
For the all-new John Deere riding mowers, tractors, and side-by-sides, think Ramsey Waite.
Make tracks to Ramsey Waite for John Deere lawn tractors and zero-turn mowers.
There's nothing like a John Deere Gator utility vehicle. From hardworking and trail-ready to the ultimate in work capability. Get into a Gator now at Ramsey Waite.
Don't just dream about it, wait for it.
Ramsey Waite.
Open Monday through Saturday. Franklin Boulevard, Glenwood. Online at RamseyWaite.com.
Shopping for your next grill at Midgley's is easy and convenient. Unlike home improvement stores, a walk across Midgley's doesn't require a relay baton. We know all about grills, too. Just don't ask us about sandpaper or toilet seats. And you don't need to remember where you parked. Our customer-friendly lot is directly behind our store. Get your next grill at Midgley's. We're at 7th and Chambers in Eugene. Midgley's. Anywhere else, and you're just playing with fire. CCB 161946.
The Veterinary Hospital is Eugene, Oregon's premier pet hospital. Open 7 days a week, our fully licensed and AHA-accredited team offer the latest in therapeutic laser technology to promote healing and pain management for your pet. The Veterinary Hospital. We care about pets and their people, too.
It's another KPNW Thirsty Thursday coming up on the 23rd at the First National Tap House at 51 West Broadway. I'm Bill Lennon, and I'm inviting you to come on down, enjoy some Widmer Brothers craft beers, and get ready to win prizes. We'll give them away every 15 minutes. We've got tickets to James Taylor, Weird Al, Counting Crows, Eugene Emeralds baseball, even Olympic Trials merchandise, and of course Bud and Widmer merchandise. It's at the First National Tap House coming up on the 23rd, Thirsty Thursday, from News Radio 1120 KPNW and Widmer Beer.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, it is my profound pleasure to introduce
The Wake Up Call on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Ductless, ductless, ductless. It's an option, but it's not your only option. Contact Pacific Air Comfort, your local Carrier factory authorized dealer, to explain the problems with your home or business's heating and cooling system. Turn to the experts, and their professional staff will listen and offer you a good, better, and best solution for your heating and cooling system that addresses your needs. Let them make you Pacific Air comfortable with new Carrier equipment. Pacific Air Comfort, quality system design, quality Carrier equipment, quality installation, and outstanding 24/7 service and repairs. Visit PacificAirComfort.com. That's PacificAirComfort.com. Or call 541-342-5300. That's 541-342-5300 to receive Pacific Air Comfort's award-winning service today.
Tired of expensive movie theater popcorn or standing in line or having to drive home after watching the big game at your annoying uncle's house? It sounds like you need to have the folks from TV Specialty in your life. Nobody does TVs like TV Specialty. Think a home theater system is out of the question or out of the budget? Call TV Specialty and see how close you really are. 541-688-5061. It's quality backed by service at TV Specialty. 541-688-5061.
The Heroes are coming this summer to historic Hayward Field for Tracktown 16 and the 2016 United States Olympic Team Trials in Track and Field. For the third consecutive time, America's heroes in track and field will compete for coveted spots on the world's greatest outdoor track and field Olympic team. Join us and watch and wonder as your heroes run, jump, and throw to the top steps of the podium. July 1st through the 10th. Single-day tickets on sale now at tracktown16.com.
Sponsored by T-Mobile. Switch to the Un-carrier today. T-Mobile.
Hey, there's my son.
Hey, Dad.
What's wrong with your voice?
There is nothing wrong with my voice.
Well, it's just sort of.
Hello, Dad.
Susan? Guys, I think it's about time to get in the car and maybe see some green things.
What are these green things you speak of?
This weekend, unplug. Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. To find the forest nearest you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
News Radio 1120 KPNW, Eugene, Springfield,
This is a Fox News Alert. I'm Lisa Brady.
At the end of the day, this is something that we are going to have to grapple with.
President Obama moments ago, just after a daily briefing that included the FBI chief and Homeland Security Secretary after the mass murder at a gay nightclub in Orlando by a killer who pledged allegiance to ISIS, but may have been inspired and not directed by the group.
One of the biggest challenges we are going to have is this kind of propaganda and perversions of Islam that you see generated on the internet.
And the capacity, the president says, for that to motivate troubled or weak individuals, as he put it. He also says weak gun laws make it easy for disturbed individuals to get powerful weapons. The shooting reigniting the gun control debate in the midst of the presidential campaign. This is the FBI probe of the killer continues. Fox Radio's Eben Brown is live outside the club in Orlando where 49 people were murdered.
Elisa, this city block remains closed off with yellow crime scene tape
tape and a heavy police presence. The FBI is continuing its look into the life of Omar Mateen, the man confirmed to be the shooter. He had been under their watch before for making statements construed to be either jihadist or violent, but now it's learned he attended religious services or discussions led by a known radical Islamic preacher. That person is already being questioned, but agents say they believe Mateen acted alone, and there is no ongoing immediate threat, Lisa.
Thanks, Eben. Meantime, hospital officials in Florida just confirming 5 of the injured are still in grave condition. FBI Director James Comey scheduled to hold a briefing on the investigation at this hour. Late word of a lockdown in Toronto. A number of government and university buildings closed as police investigate reports of a suspicious person in the area. You're listening to Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
This is an alert. If your business or church is building this year, you're about to pay more than you should. This could mean thousands of dollars more for your office, retail space, church, or warehouse. A General Steel building can save you as much as half the cost and time of similar conventional construction. And we're offering rebates of up to $20,000 to help you build today. Call General Steel for free information that could save you thousands. Call 800-98-STEEL. 800-98-STEEL. That's 800-987-8335.
Is the economy booming? Why is the stock market up? Hey, it's an election year. Anything goes. No matter who wins, stocks look overbought. Move into silver. Use your retirement account. Do it right. Why pay setup and storage fees? Special offer. Free setup and storage fees. Learn how. Call Goldworth. Request your guide free. 800-257-GOLD. 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 Visit Goldworth.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Deb Carson.
4th Stanley Cup title in franchise history for Pittsburgh.
It's over. Get in the fast lane, Grandma. The bingo game is ready to roll. The 2016 Stanley Cup champions, the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Penguins beat the Sharks 3-1, taking the series 4-2 on the Pens radio network. Pittsburgh's Sidney Crosby was named the Conn Smythe Trophy winner as playoff MVP. Warriors forward Draymond Green will miss tonight's Game 5 of the NBA Finals, suspended after the league gave him a flagrant 1 foul for that incident with LeBron James in Game 4. Have some soccer action currently underway. UEFA Euro 2016 Group D action. Spain and the Czech Republic are scoreless in the 86th minute, and longtime University of Florida athletic director Jeremy Foley announced he will step down effective October 1st.
Every election year you hear lots of promises and few guarantees. Lars Larson here to tell you about one guarantee you have right here in Eugene and Lane County. Jeremy Parmenter will sell your home. That's right, Jeremy guarantees to sell your home at a price and a deadline you agree to, or he'll buy it. And Jeremy will sell your home fast. Darbin and Ruby wanted to sell their home and move out of the country. They didn't need the extra stress that comes with selling their home, so they called Jeremy Parmenter. He sold their home in less than 30 days, right on schedule, and got them $10,000 more than any house in that neighborhood. Why would you think of working with any other agent in Eugene or Lane County? And there's no risk. If you want out of the contract, you're out. Call the only agent I recommend in Eugene. Call Jeremy Parmenter at 541-255-5685. That's 541-255-5685. Online, OregonRealEstateAdvisors.com. That's OregonRealEstateAdvisors.com.
Words used in today's social networking go hand in hand with Umpqua ice cream.
Girls, I'm posting a note on the fridge. You should read it.
Yeah, there's Umpqua ice cream in the freezer. Nice post, Mom. Yay! Do you want to share a bowl? I'll share.
Enjoy strawberry cheesecake. Umpqua ice cream's flavor of the month.
Do you like it? I really like it.
Umpqua ice cream, the original social network. Share the flavor at umpquadairy.com.
Sun Automotive is proud to sponsor the Northwest edition of Lars Larson. Sun Automotive, with locations in Eugene and Springfield, reminds you, stay safe on the road, keep your car well maintained, and don't text and drive. Sun Automotive.
Tune in to News Talk 1120 KPNW from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. for Do-It-Yourself Saturday, brought to you by Redwood Northwest. Everything is better with Redwood. Tables, benches, garden boxes, and beds. Do-It-Yourself Saturday, 9 to 3 on KPNW.
It's 9:06 and time for Rush. Rush Limbaugh on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
And now, filling in for Rush Limbaugh, ladies and gentlemen, Mark Stein.
Yes, America's anchorman is away, and this is your undocumented anchorman, Mark Stein. Honored to be here, live from Ice Station EIB in far northern New Hampshire. Donald J. Trump is in the state today. He'll be speaking about terrorism this afternoon at St. Anselm's College, about 3 hours south of here. Rush is back tomorrow, and he'll have plenty to say about what did, after all, happen in his state. Rush live from Florida tomorrow and for the rest of the week with authentic, full-strength, all-American excellence in broadcasting. But on this grim morning, we might as well get the good news out of the way first. So far, there's been no sign of that self-promoting opportunist twerp who drags his piano to the scenes of Islamic slaughter in Europe and plays John Lennon's Imagine. And so far as I'm aware, Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, and John Kerry have not actually insisted, unlike on previous occasions, that big pile of corpses over there is, quote, nothing to do with Islam. But other than that, it's been a very dispiriting and disheartening reaction. Here's the central fact. 49 gay nightclubbers are dead at the hands of a Muslim. That's what Karl Marx might have called the internal contradictions of the Rainbow Coalition. And the left can't handle it. ACLU lawyer Chase Strangio tweeted, "The Christian right has introduced 200 anti-LGBT bills in the last 6 months, and people are blaming Islam for this? No." The multi-culty delusion is that for all the blather about diversity, in the end, everyone's the same. And so the nice shishi gay couple at 29 Elm Street can exist in perfect harmony with the big-bearded imam and his 4 child brides at 31 Elm Street. And they'll all make chit-chat about the weather and last night's TV over the garden fence. That's not true. That's not true. And I was struck last night before I went to bed. I thought I'd have a look at what the overseas newspapers were saying about events in Orlando. And I first went to Fleet Street and the London Times. He swore, this is the front page of the London Times, big headline, he swore allegiance to ISIS, then shot 50 dead. Daily Mirror, ISIS maniac kills 50 in gay club. Daily Telegraph of London, ISIS wages war on gays in the West. The Sun, Islamic State killer slays 50 club revelers. The Daily Mail, the Americans murdered by an ISIS fanatic as they parted. The Daily Express, chilling moment, ISIS massacre begins in Orlando nightclub. And even the French, Le Monde, tuerie d'Orlando. L'obsession homophobe de l'État islamique, the slaughter of Orlando, the homophobic obsession of the Islamic State. Now, have a listen to what the American headlines are saying. The Chicago Tribune, act of terror, hate. The New York Times, praising ISIS, gunman attacks gay nightclub. That's the only one to mention ISIS. The Daily News, 50 dead in Orlando club massacre. Thanks NRA. That's the headline in the New York Daily News. Thanks NRA. USA Today, massacre. Orlando mass shooting deadliest in U.S. history. And the Huffington Post, deadliest mass shooting in U.S. history leaves 50 dead. People magazine, more victims of Orlando mass shooting identified as loved ones share grief. CNN, horror sympathy as world reacts to Orlando mass shooting. This from the Washington Post. Obama, Orlando shooting was a case of, quote, homegrown extremism, unquote. So it's not difficult. If you look at the London headlines, if you look at the Paris headlines, the words that appear are ISIS and terrorism. If you look at the American newspaper headlines, even when they're not actively peddling their revenge, their narrative, their angle, like the idiots at the New York Daily News, thanks NRA, thanks NRA, they're going with the anodyne, dead, desiccated language of homegrown extremism. And evading ISIS, evading the words terrorism entirely. This sort of stuff will get you killed, actually. This official lie, because that's what it is. It's the official lie. It's the official lie. And if you're dumb enough to fall for it, as this guy, ACLU lawyer Chase Strangio, blaming it all on the Christian right, if you're stupid enough, as the New York Daily News is, to think this is something to do with the NRA, that when a Muslim kills 49 homosexuals, that's somehow the NRA's fault. I'll break it down for you over the next 3 hours, because as we can already discern in parts of the Western world, the arithmetic isn't that complicated. The more Islam, the fewer gays. The more Islam, the fewer gays. In the end, you have to pick and choose which squares you want in your diversity quilt. Everyone else is invested in this official lie. The president doesn't mention the word Islam, Islamic, Islamist, jihadist, anything like that. No word like that passes his lips. And he and other Western leaders want you to keep believing that Allahu Akbar is Arabic for no Islam to see here. Who you going to believe, me or your lying eyes? That's basically what the president does. As Facebook's first act after the slaughter was to take down Pamela Geller's page, Stop the Islamization of America. Pamela Geller is someone who speaks up on free speech issues and against Islamization. Her event in Garland, Texas was shot up by some loons who went there to kill her. So she lives in fear of her life because of this ideology. But Facebook's first act after this mass slaughter is to take down her Facebook page. Whereas, interestingly enough, the killer, this guy, the nightclub killer, his father, a man who supports the Taliban, the enemy of America, against whom this country has spent huge amounts of blood and treasure. A man, in other words, who is objectively on the other side of this new war. That man's Facebook videos get to stay up. No problem. As a matter of fact, he posted a new Facebook video just this morning. So Facebook are happy to be the enforcers of the official lie. That this is nothing to do with Islam. That's really the division here. There are those of us who said for 15 years this is something to do with Islam. Quite what it is to do with Islam, we can discuss, we can argue about. But the president, Mrs. Clinton, John Kerry won't even go there. For them, it's nothing to do with Islam. And so when these things happen, as they do fairly regularly now, because the president says we can absorb them, if you recall, I think it was 5 years ago, he said, there's going to be a certain amount of these things and we can absorb them. He means America, because there's 300 million people. So if there's 50 people who get killed, it's tough on them. But for the rest of you, quit your belly aching, we can absorb it. That's his message. And so all the stories are different, and yet they're all the same. Like the San Bernardino killer, like the Panty bomber, like the Boston Marathon bombers. This guy, this killer in Orlando, was not a lone wolf, but a known wolf, known to the authorities. He had been interviewed multiple times by the FBI. That we know, because he had threatened to kill people. This is where the gun control... This is where the people who want to blame the NRA need to get their thinking straight. He worked as a security guard. So he aced that background test, and he worked for G4S, who protect federal buildings. They're the guys manning the metal detector when you go into a federal courthouse in Florida. It's chaps like this fellow Mateen. He aced that test. That's how mad things are. That's how mad things are. The guy is now actually manning the metal detector. And they say, well, you know, yes, he seems to want to kill all the infidels, and he's had contact with people who self-detonate in Syria and what have you, but those aren't actually grounds to arrest him. And so we let him go.